Hey, what is up, guys? It is the big day, the reveal of the winners for the Dynamous and Kiro AI Coding Hackathon. We'll get into it pretty quick here, but I want to give a little bit of time for people to join and just want to see where everyone's coming in from, too. I always love doing that at the start of live streams here. So here's how this is going to work. I've got my chat on the left-hand side, and then right now I just have my OBS like right here in the middle. And then once I switch to sharing my screen, I'll move that to the right monitor. So I've got my triple monitor set up here. So if you see me looking around at different screens, that's what I'm doing here. So yeah, look at this. I can go ahead and like pop up any chat right here. Strato said this will be amazing. Oh yes, it will. Sean is super stoked. I am obviously stoked myself. Ryan's literally pacing back and forth, can't sit still. Yeah, I'm pretty excited too. I was doing a little bit of pacing beforehand. If I win anything, gonna treat myself to a really nice dinner. Very cool. All right, that's right, Eric. Finally, the day of the reveal. And yes, I'm also really excited just to show what people have built here. Because let me tell you, there's only 10 winners. I had to bring it down to 10 people, but man, there were like dozens and dozens of very impressive projects. And so it was really difficult. Like genuinely, I know that a lot of times for these competitions, judges will say like, "Oh, you all did such a good job. Like this was so hard." Just to be nice, but like I'm not just being nice. Like legitimately, what people have built is just incredible. Let's get some open class style repos, 100,000 stars. Yeah, right. Share the link of the repo, the winners in chat. So I might do that, but also I think a lot of these repos were meant just for the submission. I don't know how much people want to like open source it, but we'll see. If the winners want to like share in the chat their repo, they definitely can do so. I think I'll leave it up to them to share if they would like. Yeah. How are we going to have a page for all the projects so people can see them? Yeah, so it's a good question. After the hackathon, so later today, I'm going to make a page that'll showcase everything, and then I'll share that. So for right now, I'll just be revealing it like a local little web app that I built that reveals the winners. So we'll get to that in a little bit here. But before we dive into things, how about we share where we're coming in from? I'm curious. Like, what part of the world are you guys tuning in from right now? I'll leave a little bit of time for that before we get into the meat of the stream today. Let me change the brightness a little bit on my. There we go. That's better. All right. Tariq from Milwaukee. Very, very cool. Close to where I'm in. What else we got? Seattle, Washington. Very cool. Stratos from Greece. Chicago, Illinois. Very cool. France. Will I organize more of these events in the future? Yes, I would love to. Yep. New York City. India, Virginia, Florida, Chicago, Finland, Nigeria, Zimbabwe, Vietnam, all over the world. I always love this, guys. Bulgaria, Los Angeles, Canada, Egypt, Chicago. I'm kind of just clicking around everywhere right now. Ukraine, Alberta, Canada. Very cool. Kenya. All right, that's awesome, guys. Alabama. Cool, cool. Awesome. Well, let me go ahead and share my screen because well, maybe not like right into it, but I'll get into the winners pretty quickly here. There's just a couple other things that I want to share really fast. So let me switch over to my screen. All right, there we go. I'll full screen this for a little bit here. All right. Cool, cool. And I can still like share the comments on this view as well. So I'll do that. There'll be some time for Q&A later on in the live stream as well. So the plan for this live stream is I'm going to obviously share the winners of the hackathon, the big reveal in just a little bit here, and I'm going to start with a few honorable mentions, and then I'll get into the top 10. And everyone in the top 10 is sharing within the $17,000 prize pool. So as a reminder here, first place gets $5,000, second place 3,000, third place 2,000, and then it's 1,000 for each of the fourth through 10th place winners. So there are 10 winners in total. And like I shared just a little bit ago, and it's worth repeating here, there were so many incredible submissions that there were at least a couple of dozen more that were like pretty close to getting within the top 10. It was a very hard decision. It wasn't like there was an obvious top 10. And so I'm not going to show it here on the monitor because it's a big mess, but there's a ton of notes that I was taking and like different rank charts for different parts of the rubric. Like, man, I spent so much time figuring out the winners of this. And so yeah, I just want to let you know that like if you didn't get top 10, you still built something amazing and should be proud of yourself. And of course the winners should be proud of themselves as well. So yeah, there's a lot of different criteria that I was looking at. So before I announce the winners, I just want to highlight this again. Just so that everyone's aware how I made my decision. So it's more than just like how cool is this application. There are a couple of different things. We first of all, we're judging based off of application quality. When I say we, I mean me, a couple people on my team, and then we had the Kiro guest judges as well, Doug and Jay. So they helped me organize the top 10 actually. So application quality. So things like how complete is everything working really well? Is there real world value in what you've built? That's the first criteria. The second criteria that actually ended up being a big distinguishment between those in the top 10 and those not is the usage of Kiro itself. How good is your agentic coding workflow? How much are you using the different features of Kiro, like subagents and prompts and things like that? And then documentation is very important as well. That includes the dev logs. This was a big part of the competition where you had to keep track of your progress over time and basically document your journey of building the application for the hackathon. And then innovation is pretty important, the uniqueness and creative problem solving for the application. And you'll see a couple of the winners here were pretty innovative. It was really, really cool. And then presentation, of course, mattered as well. So basically, it comes down to we judge the uniqueness and real world value, the quality of the code itself, and then the agentic coding workflow and the usage of Kiro. So keep that in mind that a lot of these applications that maybe didn't make top 10, maybe this is you. It could be like a really fantastic idea, but maybe it just came down to other ideas were also great, and then also they maybe use Kiro better or something like that. And so just keep that in mind, because I know that I've been a part of hackathons myself where I thought that like I deserved to place higher, but there's just a lot of criteria that goes into it. So keep that in mind. So I think that's just worth saying quick before we get into the winners, because there are, like I said, so many fantastic applications that won't show up in the stream today. That's just the reality of it, even though you all should be very proud of yourself. So with that, let's get into the reveal here, and we will start with honorable mentions. And so what I've got here is a local just like HTML page that I made that has the winners for the hackathon. So there I say there's 16 winners, but there's 10 that share within the prize pool, and then there's 6 honorable mentions that I wanted to bring up here because we got time in the stream to do this. And really, like I said, there was a few dozen that were really, really good. But what was extremely challenging was going from the top 16 to the top 10. And so I thought it was worth sharing a little bit about these winners as well. So there are 16 winners that don't share in the prize pool, but still, I want to give you guys a shout out on the stream itself. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pull up. I'm not sure like how many of these I want to show the like demo video. I might just focus on the top 10 for that. So maybe I'll quickly go through the honorable mentions and then I will, once I get to the top 10, I'll do a bit of a showcase of each of the projects. And then the top 3 projects, I'm going to show you a live demonstration of each of them. So we'll spend a bit more time showcasing those and I'll talk more about why they ended up being the winners for all the different parts of the rubric here. All right. So our very first honorable mention here is Robert with Decision OS. And so let me actually zoom in a little bit here. So Decision OS It's a deterministic decision simulation platform. So it models like business, technology, life decisions with AI powered explanations. And so it helps you just like take an idea and think through it with the help of an agent, which I thought was very, very cool. So congrats, Robert, on being an honorable mention. Very, very close to make it into the top 10. So this was a super cool project. So I'll go on to the next one here. We have Stratos with RT, and RT it's an AI powered resume optimizer. And so you give it your GitHub account and it goes through that to figure out like what are the tech skills that we should showcase on the resume, and even like generating a cover letter that's specific to the job that you are applying to. So this was a very cool application, and Stratos, you had a really, really nice demo as well. So congrats. Very, very close to the top 10. All right, and then we have Bloomer. So a gentle wellness companion platform with emotional AI support, and even made it into like an app built with the Kiro CLI, which let's see, there was like a good mix between people building with the IDE and CLI. Both are fantastic, and like overall, people did a really good job using the tool. So yeah, Bloomer is super cool. Honestly, like a wellness application that I could see myself using as I was trying it out and testing it. So all these applications, like the ones that are the honorable mentions and in the top 10, I put a lot of time diving in and just like trying them out, seeing like what's the value here, the uniqueness, the code quality, like all these things. It took a while to get through all this. So next we have Josh with the agentic memory protocol. So for this one, it's vendor neutral, so you can like use it with any tool, any coding assistant, but it's basically giving shared and persistent knowledge for your coding agents. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that's very much needed for a lot of agentic coding workflows. You obviously have to know what have I been working on previously when you go into a new context window. And this was a very well designed tool. Like just looking at all the capabilities in the MCP server, pretty fantastic. So nice job, Josh, for this. It was not easy to differentiate between top, 16 and top 10, like I said. Next up, we have John Jones with Mega, an AI-powered print-on-demand automation pipeline. And there's a lot that he put into this. And so basically what you can do is you just give it a simple text prompt for a e-commerce product that you want to sell. And it'll go through this entire process. It'll generate images for the product, and then it'll even handle like background removal to make sure that it's ready to put on a e-commerce platform, generate photography, SEO optimization, and then it has an integration with WooCommerce and Printify, so it can like literally put the product on your store. So you go from text prompt all the way to you've got something ready to sell in just like under 5 minutes. Very, very cool. So nice job, John, on building Mega. And then we have Roz with a Z sign. And so you can think of this like if you guys have ever used, um, if you ever used DocuSign before. So just like an online contract platform where you can go in and have both parties sign things. Z sign is a self-hosted alternative. And one of the big reasons that Roz built this that he shared is DocuSign and a lot of these other platforms out there, proprietary platforms, are very expensive. And so it's really cool to see something like this where we could run it ourselves and not have to pay. I don't know exactly how much DocuSign is, but I do know that it is pretty unreasonably expensive for most, like a smaller business. So yeah, very, very cool with Z-Sign. All right, and now that brings us into the top 10. This is the big moment. This is where the prize money comes in for you guys. And so, yeah, just one more time, I want to say for those of you that were in the top 16, it's like 16 through 10th place. Again, congratulations, guys. So close. You should still be so proud of what you've built. Now it is time to get on to the top 10. And so, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start with 10th place and go all the way down to the very best out of the entire hackathon. And also, I'm going to share the demo video for each of these. So I have just like a Google Sheet up here. Um, so I'll actually exit the full screen Oh, I showed 10th place for a second there. I'll go back to it in a second, but I'm gonna go to Google. All right, so I'm gonna get a page ready because I'm going to share the demonstration video really quickly for each of the ones that made it to top 10. All right. So let me bring this over here. That's better. Okay, cool. Jason said I'd use the sign. Great job. Yeah, congratulations to all the honorable mentions. Yep, good job, guys. All right. Looks like a lot of people love Z-Sign. That's super cool. Bloomer looks interesting. Yeah, all these ideas are so good. Agentic memory protocol is extremely cool as well. Yeah, so Rasmus helped me actually do some of the judging. And yeah, so I know there was a couple there, Rasmus, that you probably would have put in the top 10. I mean, like I said, it was really close. It came down to a lot of judgment calls there at the end. Yeah, all right. Well, let's go ahead and get into the top 10 here. So, the big reveal for 10th place, the first person to get $1,000 is Ahmed with Channel Chat. So he built an AI-powered platform that transforms YouTube creators into interactive AI mentors. And one of the things I really appreciated was the RAG architecture that he has behind the scenes. So you ingest a channel and you can ask questions over that channel. So I'll show the demo video really quickly. I'll just like mute it here. So obviously we're not gonna like watch every demo video, but I just want to like poke around the video with you guys just to kind of show you what it looks like here. So getting into the actual user interface for this, you select a creator, like he selected Matt Pocock. He's like a TypeScript developer, YouTuber. Um, and so you select, and then it just like takes time to ingest the videos. Like in this case, he's got 253 videos on his channel. It brings all of that in, and then you can immediately just start asking questions, and basically like chatting with the content creator or about the content creator. Very, very cool. So it was well designed. It used Kiro very effectively. I think more for the top three, I'll get into like how they actually use Kiro for the sake of brevity here. But yeah, just a really well designed application. And the thing that made this stand out the most to me, that made this really get in the top 10, is just the fact that like you get exact timestamps for the answers to your questions, and then you can like watch the video in the video player that kind of pops up as a canvas on the right hand side. So just like very feature rich and easy to use. So I love this. So congratulations to Ahmed. You got 10th place. And by the way, for all the winners that share in the prize pool, I'll be reaching out to you after just with the email that you used for your submission. And so, yeah, obviously we'll be taking care of distributing the prize money after the live stream here. So that is 10th place. And so now going to ninth place here, we've got Ashley with North Star. So this one is probably the like hardest to explain out of all of them. It's like really, really niche, but it's like super powerful for people that would want to use this. It's a pattern mapping tool that analyzes high conflict custody documentations, like super unique use case, mapping evidence to 10 research backed child impact patterns. And so then it generates audience specific outputs for attorneys, clinicians, and documenting parents with strict safely constraints and verbatim fact preservation. So yeah, super cool. I'll pull up the demonstration video for this, but yeah, congratulations, Ashley, for reaching ninth place in the hackathon. Let me just pull up this really quick. I'm gonna mute it too, just because I'm gonna hold on. How do I actually mute this?
Children exposed.
Because I'm most of these are not in Google Doc. Well, I guess I'll just mute my desktop here because I don't need the volume right now anyway. All
To
right.
high conflict
And then can I full screen this? I forget if I did that before.
divorce are more than twice as likely to attempt suicide in their
How do
lives.
I
This is a mental
view
health crisis that is hiding in family court.
full screen?
Parents
Okay.
document
Oh, that's good
hundreds of
enough. Yeah.
incidents, 3 different
So
audiences.
the thing that I really liked about
Screen right
this
now, it's reading.
application
are just facts.
is how
So
it's
this is
basically like
stripped of all the
generates
emotion.
an
This is
output for
facts only
specific
for the
people.
attorneys in the
And so it's
output in
like
the
for
format
the
they need.
attorney, for the therapist,
Guardian ad
and
litem
then like
and
for the
therapist on our
parent.
second tab. See
And
pattern one,
yeah, there's
triangulation
just like
by.
a really
The
good
child asked
usage
directly,
of
why does
Kiro under
everyone
the
want
hood
me
as
to
well to
choose?
build
Showing
this.
awareness of loyalty
And
pressure.
like it's one
So
of
it
these
will
applications
also,
that
it will give
I
you
feel like
each of
would
the
be
patterns
like life changing
and all of the
for certain
behavioral
people.
context.
So
Internal
super,
clarity.
super cool,
In this
Ashley.
tab, need to understand what this
Congratulations
tool
on
is and what it
ninth
isn't.
place.
This is how parents learn to
And
understand their own
yeah,
documentation.
also there was like usage of
Most
Kiro
importantly, it
CLI
focuses
like
on the
within
child,
running the
not who's winning
application
the
itself,
conflict.
which I thought was
So
really
you'll see here
unique.
pattern one, triangulation and loyalty
Yeah, so
conflicts
I'm
that we
gonna go
saw in the
ahead and close
prior
out of this.
tab.
Congratulations.
It is behavioral, high priority,
Wait,
evidence
hold
quality
on. Strata
score
said he's still
23 of
here.
25, and there are
Oh
10
yeah, because I
instances.
muted it on my
So it
end, but not. Oh,
explains
that's funny.
this pattern was prioritized because there is a strong child impact.
Wow, I am really sorry. I just realized that it was still playing. Okay. Is it good now? Let me know, guys, if it's good in the chat. I'm sorry about that. The video's talking over you. Yeah, yeah. So I think there's a little bit of delay in the stream. Is it good now? Because I closed out of it. Or is it still playing in the background? All right. I think I'm good now. Can someone confirm in the chat? I don't know how long the stream delay is. I think it's like 30 seconds. Okay, I'm good now. All right, very good. I'm sorry about that, guys. Well, anyway, I was saying like I feel like it's a life-changing application for a lot of people and really impressively built. So nice job, Ashley. So all right, that is ninth place. Let's go on now to eighth place here. So eighth place is Guard from Florian. So this one is very thematic to what's going on in the AI industry right now. A lot of people are using coding agents in YOLO mode, or they're trusting OpenClaw their entire life, and they just don't have a lot of protection for what the agent can do. And so Guard is a developer tool that protects files from unauthorized AI modification. And this is really important because just because you try to limit the permissions of Claude Code, there's always workarounds, right? Like if you try to have it not edit certain files, it can just write ad hoc Python scripts to do so. And so you'll see these things all the time where you try to make it so, for example, your coding agent doesn't read your environment variables and it'll find a way to do it anyway. I've seen that happen before. And so I think having a layer of extra protection is very, very needed. It's super cool. So I'll pop up the demo video for this one as well. Let me grab this quick from Florian. All right, and then I shouldn't have the issue anymore of it playing over people or over myself just because I'll mute it in YouTube. But it's like a super cool user interface as well, because it's just like built right into the CLI, or it is like a CLI tool. And so it's a bit more of a technical project, so it's not as easy to demo. So he did a really good job with the demonstration here, and just like showing the setup on the right side and the terminals on the left hand side. And also because this is a CLI tool, you can give it to your coding agent to like teach it how to guard the files basically from itself, which or you can just like do it yourself like he's doing in the terminal in the top left here. But it's super cool. So I won't like show the whole demonstration here, but he shows what it looks like to guard a file and then have the coding agent try to edit it, and then it shows that it's blocked because of guard. And so having like more deterministic control over what your coding agents can edit, really, really powerful. And I would genuinely consider using this myself because coding agents they're pretty risky. Like I said, even if you try to limit what it can do, like in Claude Code through the allow list and deny list, a lot of times it can still get around that because there's things that you didn't think about, like creating scripts for code execution to edit files or read files. So super cool. Nice job, Florian, with getting seventh place or eighth place. Congratulations. Yeah. All right. Didn't even know about this event. Should have marketed it more. I tried my best. I did a lot of shouting it out on YouTube and LinkedIn and in the Dynamous community. But if there's another way I could have marketed it, like, let me know. I'm all ears. Did not hear about Ashley's project. Well, most of the time she wasn't talking. Or yeah, so I talked about it before I got into the video at least. But anyway. What is the tech behind the project, the development aspects? So for the sake of brevity, I'm going to be getting into that just for the top three. And so I'm staying pretty high level for the first ones that I'm going over here. But for the top three, I will get into the tech stack and exactly like what their agentic coding workflow looked like and why their usage of Kiro was really, really good. So yes, I will show. Um, Florian here. Thank you, everyone. FYI, the project is updated daily. Super cool. Awesome, Florian. I love to hear it. And thanks for being here. Rasmus tried it. Cool product. Yeah. Congratulations. Dev posts could have, yeah, I guess there are a couple of other like hackathon specific or developer forums I could have posted it on for sure. So I'll keep that in mind for the next hackathon here. All right. Very cool. So anyway, going on to number 7 here. We've got Koshik with Nexus of Mind. And this is a video game, a real-time strategy game where you mine resources and defend against AI-controlled creatures that learn and adapt. And like that's the coolest part there is that the AI enemies they learn and adapt. So let me pop up the demonstration for this quick because we'll see like a little bit of the gameplay here. This one was super cool. All right, so let me kind of like go into. So this was a bit of a longer demo video, but just to like show what the game looks like a little bit here, it's really cool. Like the graphics are pretty good for the time you had for the hackathon, especially considering that this is a 3D application. Like, trust me, those are not easy to make when you're not going off of something like Unity as your game engine. So yeah, this application looked and played really, really well. Simple, easy to get into, fun to play. Super cool. So yeah, congratulations to Kaushik, like building an entire video game for the hackathon, and then there's even like this visualization dashboard behind the scenes, like super comprehensive application. So I love this. So nice job, Kaushik. Congrats on getting your seventh place here. And if Kaushik is here, he could share more about his tech stack if he wants in the chat. I'm gonna go on to the next winner here though. Yeah, and then like oh, my video of Ashley was 100% over my comments. Sure, okay. I'll go back and share a little bit more. So the thing that I liked about Ashley's is that I feel like it's like legitimately a life-changing application for certain people. And like it worked extremely well. Like being able to generate the text like specific to what the attorney would need or the parent would need. It just like really resonated with me. Like I love those kind of applications that can like really personalize the output to specific groups of people. So I like this a lot. And yeah, just like my very limited knowledge of the space, it seemed like really accurate information that it generated. So yeah, and then like it's just like a really nice and simple architecture too, like just really effective at the solving the problem that it aimed to solve. So yeah. And yeah, it's exactly right. Going back to Kaushik's here, game development is not easy, even with the help of AI. Good job. I agree 100%. All right. All right. So on to number 6 here, we have Kirill with Grin's irrigation platform. And this is one of the few that was like a full-blown SaaS platform. Like it legitimately felt like a full-blown SaaS platform. So it's a field service automation platform for irrigation businesses, AI-powered schedule generation and route optimization. I know most people here probably don't know the irrigation industry that much, but I did a little bit of research on it when I was diving into his submission. And like it really does take care of a lot of the things that I mean, a lot of these other like irrigation platforms just don't handle well. Just like from the bit of research that I did. So this was a fantastic application. So congrats, Kirill, for sixth place here. I'll pull up the demonstration video for this too. All right, so I'll just like poke around the platform a little bit with you here. So let me go into full screen mode for this. And yeah, it just had like a really, really clean interface as well. So being able to see like what's today's schedule, what are the pending invoices, just a platform. It's kind of like a sort of like a CMS or yeah, just like a dashboard that's like meant for irrigation companies, and it really has like everything that you would need, which You wouldn't think that there's a lot for this industry, but there is a lot that you have to keep track of with your routes and invoices and jobs. And like all of the AI integration that he had within the platform, like AI can the README said, like help you optimize your routes and schedules. Very, very cool. And he had a really nice demonstration here as well. So congrats, Grill, on getting second place in the hackathon. All right. Next up, we have fifth place here. Fifth place is Gustavo with Kyrtos DNA. And so this is an AI-powered business idea validator. And so you give it just an idea for any kind of business that you want to start, and it goes through this like really involved process. It searches through data sources across 7 pillars, 21 subcategories, and it ends up making 50 calls to an LLM under the hood to do a bunch of research and analysis for you. But also it's pretty token efficient too. So that I like that part about it. Like you'd think that it wouldn't be with 50 calls to an LLM, but it actually was. So it's extremely cool. So Gustavo, congratulations. I think that like, okay, I'm gonna be honest. When I first saw this idea, I was like, okay, why wouldn't I just use Claude Code or to do research for my business idea, right? Like, what's the value here in the architecture you built under the hood? But once I tried it myself and went through your demo, like I was legitimately impressed. I felt like the output that I got is something I could not just replicate with a workflow in Claude Code or Perplexity or something like that. And so that's why I ranked this so high, is because it like took an idea that I like felt like I would be able to just do myself, and it like made something better that like, I wouldn't be able to just replicate with a research workflow. And it's got like really nice and clean, cool looking UI as well. So you just give it like your niche, your target geography, like any kind of idea, and then it does a ton of research, and it's like it like outputs a ton of things in real time too. It's super cool. And then it like shows like specifically from the different sources that it grabbed from like Reddit and Hacker News and things like that. All it has like this whole matrix here to help you like understand are you like solving real pain points, things like that. And like its confidence level, like man, it's just super involved under the hood. So it's like simple UI, but it's like actually doing a lot for you underneath. And then the other part that I really like about this is after it generates the business plan for you, it will also there's like a way to I think this is at the very end. Yeah, so there's like a sort of like bolt lovable thing built right into the application where it can take your idea and build a proof of concept for you. Like actually create a website within Kiratos DNA. So that was really just like the cherry on the top that I super appreciated. So yeah, nice job, Gustavo. This is a fantastic application. All right. Cool, cool. So that brings us now to fourth, and then we'll get to the top three. And the top three is where I'll do a bit of a live demo for you. All right. My mic is a bit staticky. Well, I don't really know what I'd be able to do about that. I mean, I could, let's see. Okay, I turned the input notch down a tad. Is that better? Let me know in the chat if that's better. I know there's a bit of a stream delay. So I'll move on to the next one and then just let me know. All right. So next up, going to fourth place here, we've got a Jacob with prep. So this one is very, very niche. You have to be using Obsidian for it to be useful, but personally, I'm using Obsidian. I know a lot of people following my channel are using Obsidian. What this does is it gives you an agent the ability to grab files from your Obsidian Vault to help you prep for your upcoming meetings. And so it integrates with your Obsidian Vault and your calendar, and it'll autonomously help you prep for your meetings. It's an Electron, React, and TypeScript application. And it's got like a really clean implementation that just works super well. Let me pop up the video here. Got a loom for this one, so hopefully I can mute it, unlike the other one that wasn't on YouTube. Yeah, okay, it's muted here. But just look at the clean user interface for this. Super cool. So it'll like index your Obsidian Vault, connected to your calendar. So you got like both your integrations like right there at the top. And then you can also record your meetings and like transcribe those and put those automatically into your Obsidian Vault. So also you're building transcripts over time so that you can better prep for future meetings that might be similar to other ones that you now have in your Obsidian Vault. So it's kind of like self-learns over time almost, which I think is super cool. So yeah, just like the way that he handled these integrations in the application is really, really clean. Very, very close to getting the third place. So really nice job for prep. Looks a lot like a user interface that I would design. It's got like the dark theme and blue colors and stuff for Dynamis for a lot of the websites that I make for demos and stuff. But so maybe I'm a little bit biased, but I think that the user interface looks really, really clean. So yeah, super cool. Just all the configuration options. Like it seems like you can customize everything you need, but still the UI doesn't feel bloated. You know what I mean? Like just really organized. So I appreciate that a lot with this. So yeah, congratulations to Jacob for getting fourth place with prep. Super cool. All right. The best part is it auto integrated with Obsidian meeting transcription. Love to use this myself. Yeah, 100%. I am interested too. Yeah. Every time YouTube is playing, the audio breaks. Oh, is that what does it? So maybe I just can't talk as much when I'm like clicking around the video. Okay. Interesting. Well, that's good to know. I don't really know what I could do about that though, because I still want to like show the videos. But anyway, love all these projects so far. Yeah, yeah, I do too. Obviously. All right. Well, here we go. Now we are getting into the top three. And I guess this works well because I'll do like a live demo instead of showing the video. So we don't have to deal with my voice breaking anymore. So sorry about that, guys. I don't know why playing a muted video would cause my voice to break more. I guess that's just some kind of glitch with OBS or my laptop or something. I don't know. But anyway, it is time now. So the third place, the person who is getting the $2,000 prize is Cody with an application called Ioku. I think I am pronouncing that right. Ioku. And so I've got this running. It's actually a Docker container or a set of Docker containers. So I got it running on my computer live right now. I'll give you guys a demonstration of this. Well, first I'll talk about what it is a little bit. So it is a video intelligence platform, which this is not easy to build. So it transforms your video libraries into a searchable database using ML-powered analysis. And so I'm actually running the NVIDIA GPU version of this. So it's using my GPU for object detection. And so let me just pull up the application here to show you guys how this works. It's super, super cool. So here we go. All right. So I have a couple of demonstration videos here, just that I put in my own library. So I'll click on this one. So this is actually his demonstration video. And so it has like the object recognition here. So what I can do is I can jump around to different things like faces, objects, scenes, and I can just like search a label here. Like send me to the part of the video where there's a train. And then I can click next, and then boom, look at that. It sends me to the part of the video that has a train. I can go next, there's the next train, and then next, there is the next train, and then it runs out. So there's no more results, but I can, go back and next, right? So I can like navigate between it. But this is so powerful. And it's running locally. Like it's using my GPU for the object recognition, which is, to me is the coolest part. Not easy to do this, and the fans on my computer are kind of going when it's doing this, but it's super cool. And like it's a really practical application because there's a lot of times where actually one of the things that he shares here as one of the use cases. Okay, this is like a short version of the README, so it doesn't say it here. But yeah, like let's say you have hundreds of hours of footage for like I could use this for my YouTube videos. Like I have literally at this point like hundreds of hours of YouTube content. But what if I want to like point out a certain part of a video and I want to not point it out by like what I said, but actually like what is shown on the screen? right? Like where I'm demoing this application. So I can just like search for when I'm showing this thing on my screen, find it, and then send that timestamp. There's just so many use cases. So one of the things I appreciated was listing out the use cases in the README. Very, very cool. So yeah, I mean, like I would personally use this application myself, and it's just like loading a library that I have like just in a folder on my computer. Super cool. They got like a whole like artifact gallery for like the different objects that it recognized. So yeah, super cool and a very, very simple application. So I appreciated this a lot. And one thing that I said I would do for, hold on, let me pull this up. One thing I said I would do for the top three is talk a little bit about how they used Kiro as well. So let me pull this up really quickly. All right. So for this one, we got, where's the folder here? Cody here. So the main thing that I want to like just call out really quickly is what we have in the .kiro folder. So one of the things that stood out to me for how Cody used Kiro is hooks. Almost no one else, I mean, some other people, but almost no one used hooks in Kiro, which is kind of surprising to me. And so I really liked all the usage of hooks here. Just calling out one of the things that was pretty unique to this. And then also the other thing was like all the specs. Like this was a very spec-driven development, like really taking advantage of the core offering of Kiro. I believe using the Kiro IDE here, but there was like for different parts, like for the jump navigation, there's a whole like design here with the requirements and the tasks to actually build this out. Yeah, like just really good use of spec-driven development. And then the steering documents were like, I mean, pretty simple, but like that's just all you needed in this case, especially because most of what it needed for context was in the specs folder here. So yeah, overall, just like really good usage of Kiro too. And then obviously, as you guys saw, like a really valuable application as a whole. So that is third place. Congratulations to Cody. All right. Best project so far. You can use it to detect objects in a live webcam. Yeah. Super cool. All right. Yeah, so I know there's like a lot of things in the chat right now, but I want to keep going through the winners and then we'll have a bit of time for like chatting about the winners and things before I go on to the next part of the live stream here. So yeah, let's go on to the next one here. Let me close out of these quick. All right. So that is third place. Now, second place, getting the $3,000 prize is Uros with Skill Swap. And man, this was a really unique idea. So it's a neighborhood skill exchange application, but there's a mandatory coffee meeting before any swap. And I've seen these kind of applications in the past where you're just connecting people that want to share services with each other. Like one person is a techie like me, another person is a handyman, and maybe they'll share services. Like I'll help make your internet faster, and then you help me with some plumbing need that I have in my house, right? Like that kind of thing. So instead of having to like go and hire an expensive contractor, you can just exchange services with another person. So a legitimately useful application, but it's really cool. Like a lot of times before you invest into someone, you want to like learn from them, right? So you have like this interview, you set up a coffee meeting, but you can do it like right within the application. So it's sort of like Tinder, like a dating service, but like for skill swapping, and then like you have to set up a meeting beforehand. So I thought this was really cool, and we'll get into like how they use Kiro as well. But I'll start with obviously a demonstration here. So let me pull this up really quick. So skill swap, there we go. All right, and now in order to like really test this, I have to actually have two instances of this because I need to show you like two people connecting here. So I'm going to open up an Edge browser here so that I can have a second version of this site. I hope this will work. I might have to like log in and out of different accounts here. So I'll go to my dashboard. So I've got my account, Cole Medine. And then from my other browser, I'll log in here. I'll create another account. So I'll sign up. I'll just do like Cole Medine 3 at test3.com. Create an account really quickly. All right, there we go. So then you have to like obviously fill out your profile. So I'll give my latitude and longitude. I'll just say 50 point. I'll do like something close to the other account that I had set up when I was testing this. 49.92. Set location. So obviously you set your location. There you go. We'll show you neighbors within 2 miles. Okay, sounds good. Very cool. And then this is where you say like here's what I can offer, and then here's what I'm looking for. So I could say in my case, well, let me look at the other profile because I need to make sure I'm matching with. So this other profile I created, I offer web design and web development, photography and video editing. And then what I'm looking for is plumbing, carpentry, and electrical work. So for this profile, I'll just do the opposite. I'll say that I offer plumbing and carpentry, and I'm looking for web design and video editing. So there we go. Save profile. Boom. There we go. And then let me get rid of these pop-ups. All right, cool. So now what I can do is I can click on Discover. So I can look for what other people are offering. So Sage is offering web design and plumbing. Emma is offering video editing and carpentry. And then if I go to my other profile, let's refresh here. It says like, okay, Colt Medine 2, 1.13 miles away. I will teach video editing, web design, and web development, and they'll learn carpentry and plumbing. So it's just based off our profiles that it makes the connection here, which I think because I went into a different browser. And this is like running locally right now, just as a demonstration. I don't think I can do a separate browser like this. So anyway, I'll just show you what this looks like here. So once you match with someone, you can schedule a coffee meeting. So like you put out the offer, they accept the match, and then you can schedule the coffee meeting. So I can say like, all right, well, let's meet at Blue Bottle Coffee, and we'll do it. Let's just do it on Monday at 9:45 a.m. There we go. Send meeting proposal, and then they can accept it, and then you can add it to your calendars, and then you're good to go. You're meeting, and now you're going to be swapping skills. It's super cool. And like I set up a meeting with myself earlier when I was testing. Same kind of deal here. And then the other account just has to accept. So I think I can do that really quick. Cool at test two. I think this was my other account that I was making during testing. Oh man, I might not be able to get into this one because I totally forgot my password. And I used a fake email, so I can't remember. But anyway, that is skill swap. And I think that's like really, really useful. 'Cause contractors are expensive. So you can find someone else in your neighborhood to help you, and then you just exchange your own skills. It's very cool. So yeah, congratulations, Earls, for second place with Skill Swap. Really beautifully crafted application, just nice and simple. Like it solves the problem very simply. And getting into the usage of Kiro here. So of course we'll look into the .kiro folder. First of all, there's a Skill Swap dev agent. So using like the custom agents in Kiro, I thought was very, very cool because they're also like building the devlog tracking within the agent. So as a part of the instructions here, they're having it update the devlog. So look at this. We're using a hook here. This is the best way to update the devlog because you make it deterministic. So you have a hook. Whenever the agent stops, you're going to make sure that it updates the devlog, right? And so like that way, over time, you're guaranteed to keep it constantly up to date without you having to worry about it too much yourself. And so a very comprehensive devlog here as they were building the application. And by the way, they built the entire thing in only 17 hours, which was pretty impressive. Not that like time spent was a big criteria, but I'm just calling that out really quickly that like a lot of these other applications it took a lot longer, but they did a really good job here. Yeah, and then like having the update devlog command that it leverages, so like providing structure for how you update the devlog. I was just pretty impressed with that overall. And then yeah, kind of like the last one, the spec-driven development here. Like all the different features that they built in kind of like a piv loop like I teach on my channel. That was really cool. And the steering documents looked really good too, like the brand colors and like outlining like giving criteria for the agent for how to build the UI more than just like through the prompt as you're building. I appreciate that a lot too. So yeah, just really good usage of Kira overall. So that is second place. Congratulations again, Uro. With that, let's get into the winner here. Someone said this is basic. I think that like it's simple. Yes. I don't really appreciate the other comment that you said right after because it was a genuinely good application. Just because something is simple doesn't mean that it's not a winner because their usage of Kiro was fantastic. The application has a genuine use. I would personally use it myself. Yeah, it doesn't have an insane amount of features, and it wasn't something that took 80 hours to build, but like it was still a really good application. And so I'm gonna like spend a second to defend it here because I really think that I don't appreciate what you said there. Like it, like other people said, it is legitimately a good idea. And I think it does deserve second place. So yeah, and like I said, or like I was just showing too, the usage of Kiro is just really good. So remember, there's a lot of different criteria that goes into this that we are judging. So it's more than just like how complex is the application. Like yes, there are other applications that are more complex, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a better project. Like I said, I spent a lot of time getting into each of these. The uniqueness, the code quality, the usage of Kiro, how much would I use this myself? All of that criteria together came through, and I spent a lot of time figuring out the winners here. And so I will stand behind all the decisions that I have here, and everyone has built incredible things. And so I really don't appreciate anyone that says anything bad about any of these projects because they are all great. Yeah, I should have said earlier, how many entries were there? There was 160 submissions. There were so many amazing submissions, but yeah, 160. It was crazy. All right. And yeah, exactly. There's a lot of complexity behind making things simple for users, right? Yeah, sometimes what really seems simple on the surface took a lot of engineering to make it that way. So, yeah. All right. Yeah, Rasmus said from reviewing swap, it had excellent engineering, simple and clean architecture, didn't overproduce the solution. Many things to like about it. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Very good. So now we are going to get into the winner of the hackathon. The person that takes away the $5,000 prize, almost a third of the prize pool here. And so the winner of the hackathon, I'll spend a good amount of time showcasing their project too, is Jamal with the Livestock AI Manager. Congratulations, Jamal, on getting first place. And so this is a fantastic application. Now, this one has a lot to it. So, like I was just saying, simple is good, but when you can build something that has a lot to it and like actually works well and it's still like a simple use case overall, like I appreciate that a lot. So this one got first place. Definitely deserved it. And so offline first livestock management system supporting different species and languages deployed on Cloudflare workers. Yeah, there's just a lot. It's a very feature rich application. And so let me pull up the demo for this. I'll just poke around a little bit here. So give me a second. There we go. All right, take a look at this dashboard. Like I feel like I control so much from this user interface. So we got the high level. Let me zoom in a little bit for you guys here. There we go. So hopefully it's easy to see. There's a lot going on here. So we got overview of our entire farm, and we can like navigate between different farms if we have multiple, and then it just like helps you manage everything. Like the alerts of like, okay, we need to make sure that we feed our livestock today, or whatever it is. Being able to like see our revenue, our inventory, and we can like go between the different like tasks that we have for the day and all the different operations like feed, health, mortality. Like it's just so comprehensive here. And I believe this is using like, well, this might be demo data. This is like a demo URL that he has deployed for me to showcase to you guys here. But it's just like an extremely clean user interface, very feature rich, but still feels like easy to navigate through everything as long as you like obviously understand your own farm here. But yeah, I was able to like add some things myself that worked really well. Just super cool. So yeah, and then like obviously the usage of Kiro was fantastic too. So let me go into this here. Oh, and before I even get into the usage of Kiro, I just want to say that like this solves like a really big real world problem, which is another thing that made it get first place. But yeah, let me just show you the usage of Kiro here because that's another big part of it as well. So first of all of the different agents that he had was fantastic. like and like the hooks that he has for the agents, like depending on what they're working on, the different files that he's giving them access to as a part of their context immediately. Like there's just a lot of context engineering that he built into the usage of agents in Kiro. And so like for resources, these are the files that are loaded immediately into the context of the agent. Like for the I-18N, um, the internationalization agent, he loaded in like these parts of the code base that it has to know. Like if you're working on top of what you've already built for the initial build, like it's just really, really good. Livestock specialist, super cool. There's a livestock specialist. One of the things that he did with this application that I really appreciated is he kind of built like a second brain into the code base itself. So not only do you have the code base or the web application to manage your farm, but he also like built it so you can use Kiro kind of as like a second brain. So it like understands your code so it knows like the things that you're tracking, and you can like use it as like a CLI agent to help you, like it can like use the APIs under the hood so that you can like quickly ask questions to Kiro. And so you have the dashboard to like see everything at a high level if you want. But if you want to drill down to something really specific and just ask like a question to Kiro, it can like understand everything about your farm as well, like just as like a chat bot. So I like that usage of Kiro as well. It felt very unique. And then for all the prompts, one of the things that he did is he created a lot of different commands for things, like commands for like the Cloudflare setup. So I could just like go and say like, "Hey Claude, help me set up," or I should say, "Hey Kiro, help me set up livestock AI and deploy it to Cloudflare." And I could like use this command so I could just like do it in one shot, and it just like helps me go through the whole setup process. So I appreciate that as well. Because that's another thing that I've been working on recently is using coding agents to help me set up projects and like having the instructions as like a skill or a prompt or whatever automatically. So yeah, a lot of different usages of skills and prompts here that I appreciated a lot. So all right. Jamal said I can share the Kiro directory for all of you. Yeah, yeah, please do, Jamal. I appreciate that a lot. And okay, so not open source, but there will be a generous free tier. Fair enough. Yeah, it is not an expectation that any of these projects are open source, because I don't want people to have to give away everything that they're working so hard for unless they want to. Obviously, I'm a fan of open source myself, but it's not an expectation. So that sounds good. But the fact that you're willing to share the Kiro directory, because that's a big part of what made your submission. I just knocked my microphone. That's a big part of what made your submission awesome, Jamal. So appreciate that, and congratulations. So there we go. Those are our winners for the AI Coding Hackathon, the Dynamous and Kiro AI Coding Hackathon. You all did an amazing job. And I know that I've said this a couple of times already, but I gotta say it again. Those of you who did not make the top 10, top 16, there were still so many of you that did an absolutely amazing job. And so you all should be proud of yourself for what you have built. And this was just an absolute pleasure of an event to run and go through all your projects. I was very inspired by everything that you guys built. And I learned a lot, even from you all just like going through the submissions and seeing your agentic coding workflows and how exactly you set up your steering documents and your spec-driven development and your agents and everything. It was very, very cool. So I learned a lot even from the ones that weren't in the top 16. So congratulations, and of course like a huge shout out to Kiro for working with me on this hackathon, hosting this with you guys. And like I showed earlier, we had the two AWS guest judges, like the Kiro guest judges as well. So that was really cool to like work with them. They helped to organize the top 10. So I like gave them the top 10, and then they helped me like figure out the ordering of them. So they were a big part of that as well. So this is just like a fantastic event overall. And yeah, congratulations to the winners. You're welcome. Very, very welcome. And yeah, it was a blast showing you guys the winners and why I chose them. So yeah, I would love to do more hackathons in the future. And yeah, like this was just like a joy to do this hackathon. A lot of you shared with me, like even if you didn't win, you still really appreciated everything that you learned. And I hope that like resonates with everyone here. Like if you weren't one of the winners, and congratulations to the winners, but if you weren't one of the winners, I still hope that this was an experience where you learned a lot. And we had a lot of community and dynamis, like people sharing ideas with each other as they were building too, and that was really cool to see. So it was just fantastic. And so, yeah, there's one thing I want to say here is I'm planning on potentially doing more hackathons actually in the Dynamous community. And so something I want to call out really quickly is a lot of this like energy that we have from the hackathon here. I'm going to be like continuing that in the Dynamist community. And so if you guys are interested, I do have a special discount, a live stream special to join the Dynamist community, which also I just released recently the agentic coding course. So if you want to really learn how to like take your AI coding to the next level and build reliable, repeatable systems around AI coding, we got that in the community. There's weekly workshops that I do. I do like other mini hackathon challenges in the community as well. And so I have a live stream special. I'm going to go ahead and share this link in the chat right now if you guys want to check this out. This discount, this live stream special is going away at the end of the stream. So you only have 2 hours to lock this in. So take advantage of this now because it is a significant special over the usual pricing and you get to lock it in forever. And so yeah, I within here I'll just like list out everything you get in the community, the new agentic coding course I just showed, access to all current and future courses, so you're locked in for life. All the new content that I put into Dynamis is free for you guys once you are a member. There's the weekly workshops that I do, office hour sessions for you to come and ask any questions, access to the entire community. There are dozens of hundreds of people sharing incredible ideas with each other every single day. All my templates and resources for building agents and AI coding. And yeah, it's just a great time. So this is where I put most of my effort in my life is into the Dynamis community, and it's just a blessing to be a part of it. So, yeah, I hope to see you guys in the community. Like I said, this special here is going away at the end of the live stream to lock in a 20% discount over the public pricing. And so this is just my thanks to you all for being here and participating in the hackathon. So if you like the energy of the hackathon, you want more of that, you want to take your AI coding skills and just AI skills in general further, this is the place to be. And I make a commitment every single day to be very active in the community, giving a lot to you guys. And it's just incredible how much people learn from each other as well in the community. It's like I said, so many amazing ideas being shared every single day in Dynamis. So yeah, I'll leave this up for a little bit, and I can go ahead and answer some questions that you guys have in the chat as well before we get on to the next thing. So, like I said in my announcements for this live stream, the next thing that I want to showcase to you guys is a live build. We're going to be talking about the future of agentic coding, kind of thematic for hackathon live stream, AI coding hackathon live stream. And I'm going to be doing a couple of live builds with you guys using the new Claude Code Agent Teams feature. We're going to actually push the limits of Agent Teams, see how far we can take it. So there's going to be like I'll explain this more in a little bit here, but I'm gonna do like one like real use case where I'll build something out that's like legitimately useful with agent teams. And then I'm gonna try like another use case in parallel where I'm just gonna see like how many agents I can have running at the same time, building something that is like hopefully legitimately useful, but it's just gonna be more like let's push the limits of agent teams. So I'll do that in a little bit here. But I wanted to like go through the chat a little bit before I get into that. So yeah, number one is really deserved. I agree. Yep. Congrats to everyone. I'm surprised I'm not in the top 16. I think my project was not submitted successfully. I mean, you can message me after if you want me to make sure it was submitted successfully. But yeah, I mean, there are a lot of really incredible projects, even the ones that weren't top 16. Well done to the winners. Yes, congratulations, guys. Is there a list somewhere to see the GitHub projects of the entries? So, like I said, it's not a requirement to open source for the hackathon, so I will let the winners share if they would like to. And so, within the Dynamis community, there is that public open section for the community right now, just for the hackathon. If any of the winners want to share their GitHub repo, they can do so there. Or if they want to just like put a GitHub link in the chat right now, they definitely can. But I just don't want to share the repo with everybody if they don't really intend for it to be open source. But I mean, it'd be really cool if they'd want to share. All right. Looking forward to the next hackathon. Yeah. I mean, I probably won't do one like literally next week, but I definitely want to do more. Cannot begin to express my appreciation for the whole experience. Thank you, Cole and Kiro. Yeah, I appreciate a lot, Ashley. You're welcome. All right. Is it possible to ask you about why my project wasn't selected on Dynamous? Yeah, I mean, you can feel free to message me in the community if you'd like. But yeah, I mean, like in general, there's a lot of very, very close calls, like there's just so many projects that were good. So it might not be like I have like a here's the exact reason, but I can like share my thoughts on like what I like more about other projects. But yeah, I mean, definitely like I'm sure your project was incredible because I don't remember like everyone's specifically besides the top 16, but I know that there were dozens that were just so good. So yeah, thank you for the opportunity. Push me to push Kiro. Yeah, you're welcome. And congratulations again, Jamal. Kiro CLI subagents helped with the completion speed. That's good. Yep, that's the goal. That's the goal. Join if you can. Best money I have spent. I appreciate it a lot. Yeah, yeah. I'll put the link one more time in the chat here because this is a special that's going away after the live stream. And by the way, one other thing that I am going to be covering more in the Dynamis community soon is a lot more of the work that I've been doing around my second brain, building kind of like my own version of OpenClaw. So I'll go to my YouTube channel quick. That is the wrong link, YouTube. There we go. I'll go to my channel really quick. Been posting some content recently, like with my second brain video here, the latest one where I built a safer OpenClaw alternative, essentially like my own second brain that's Claude code driven. I'm going to be sharing a lot more on this with resources for you guys in the Dynamis community very, very soon. So if you're interested in this, like I would not recommend running OpenClaw directly. As fantastic of an application as it is, it's just really risky to run yourself and it's not your own thing, right? Like it's really easy to build your own second brain. That's what I'm a big proponent of. So I've got a lot more of that coming soon in the Dynamis community. And so yeah, come be a part of that. Some workshops that I'll be doing soon. I'm going to be open sourcing definitely like a good chunk to my YouTube channel. Obviously, I still want to give a lot of value to everyone on my YouTube channel, but I always go deeper in the Dynamis community, right? Like it's just a better space to go deeper. And so that's generally how I roll. It's like I'm still very open and sharing a ton of really valuable stuff on my channel, but then like always taking it further in Dynamis. So hope that sounds good to you. Membership has paid off many times for me for sure. I appreciate that a lot. Yeah, thanks, Cole. Got number 12. Yeah, you're welcome, John, and congratulations on number 12. That's no small feat. Like I said, there's 160 submissions for this hackathon. How many members today? Dynamis has 1,350 members, active members right now. Thank you for this hackathon, Cole. We all appreciate you and the team. You're very welcome. Yeah, thank you for being a part of it. When can we expect a new hackathon? Any approximate dates we can expect? So I want to do hackathons at least once a year. And then, like I said, probably some more hackathons within the Dynamis community itself, but a public one at least once a year. Because I did one last year around this time as well. Now, if there's enough interest, I would be down to do more too. So we will see. It is a lot of work to put on these hackathons, doing the judging and all the announcements and creating the rules and the criteria for the hackathon. Like it is a lot of work. It's well worth it, but it takes a lot. We need your obsidian skill. Oh, I'm cooking with my skills. Like I said, I'll be sharing a lot more on my second brain very, very soon here. And that will include a lot of things around my skills. Yep. All right. How important was the score from your scoring prompt? That's a good question. So I do not trust the coding agent to give a very accurate score. I had the scoring prompt available to you guys more as like a sanity check. Like, is there anything big that I'm missing that the coding agent would call out? So I didn't lean on that too much. I don't think that'd be fair for you guys. So I did the scoring more myself. Just kind of use that as an initial sweep to see if there were any big things that were missing. Like unfortunately, there were a lot of even good projects that just like didn't have a devlog, and that was a clearly laid out criteria for the hackathon. It's like those kind of things that it would help when the agent would call it out. So it's like, okay, good, I have that in mind now. Like, unfortunately, it does affect the score a significant amount because that then they don't get much for the documentation and Kiro usage, or it knocks points off that. So there are some things that I did there, but it was always very, very human driven for the scoring. Yep. All right. Yeah. So yeah, you could get like a high score, but it'd be more just like you're passing all the smoke tests, you know what I mean? All right. Thank you for yesterday's mini hackathon. Yeah, we did a mini hackathon at Dynamous yesterday. It was like just like an hour long thing. It was super cool though. So yeah, you're welcome. Definitely interested in more hackathons. Good to know. Yeah, yeah. Um, did project winners need to have lint-free and proper type security audits? Trying to get a feel for how clean code needs to be a win. Yeah, so the ones that won, none of the projects were perfect, and I think that's fair because it's a hackathon, you're building things quickly. But like the ones that won were definitely like close to those kind of like I mean you can even see with some of the winners they had like the linting checks and things and like that was an important part for sure. So that was a good part of the scoring for the application quality. But I never found a project that was like perfect, but definitely good. All right. All right. So that is a wrap for the hackathon here, but now we're going to get to the next, hopefully equally exciting part of our live stream here. So it is 9:10 my time, 10:10 Central Time. So we're making good time for this live stream. I'm excited to get into the next part of what I've got for you guys here. So that is everything for the hackathon. But now we're going to get into talking about the future of agentic coding. And I got some live builds for you guys here. And I'm excited for this because now that we like went over the hackathon and showcasing what people were able to build with Kiro, I want to talk about what the future of AI coding looks like. What are we going to be able to do in a couple months from now, in 6 months from now? And I think the best way to like show what AI coding is going to look like in the near future is to talk about agent teams. So we're going to get into agent teams here. So let me actually close out of this quickly. I'm going to clear up some old tabs here so we can get in to agent teams. So this is a feature that was just released to Claude Code with the release of Opus 4.6. So I think just like a week and a half ago, this was released to the world. And I want to get into this with you guys because it is an experimental feature. It doesn't work extremely well at this point. And we'll talk about it as we use it live. But I really do think that this is where agentic engineering is going. Because what we have with agent teams here is the ability to spin up multiple agents working in parallel, but actually communicating with each other. That is the big distinguishment from sub agents. We've had sub agents for a while where we can invoke them in parallel, but the thing with sub agents is they don't communicate with each other, right? Like we have our main agent that spawns sub agents. They do some work. They have some kind of result that they report back to the main agent, but there's no coordination. But with agent teams, we have the main agent that it spawns all of these teammates, but they all share a task list and they communicate to each other. So teammate one can send a message to teammate three. Teammate two can send a message back to the main agent as it's working. They can knock off tasks and like coordinate with each other. Like, I'm going to handle these two tasks and you handle these three. It is very powerful. Now, the two downsides to agent teams one, it's very non deterministic. You're giving a lot of control to the main agent to figure out, like, how do I coordinate with the agent team here? And so you lose a bit of control for sure. And then the second downside is it's very token heavy. When you have all of these agents running at the same time, there's a lot of overhead in as far as token usage just to have these agents communicate with each other as well. And so there are definitely some things that I think need to be worked on with agent teams until it's really ready for you to like build production grade software with it. But the reason I want to cover it with you guys is I think we're going to get there. Probably within the next half a year, building with agent teams, I think will be the norm. And so I want to showcase doing a real, like actually useful production build with you guys with agent teams right now. And then, like I said earlier, at the same time, I want to do a really fun version of building with agent teams where we just try to see how many agents we can have working at the exact same time. So I am ready to blow through a lot of credits with Claude Code right now, building with agent teams. And so here's what I got for you guys. For the first build, the more real build, I have this agentic chat application that I built earlier this week. It is a very basic application. where we can just like send a message into the agent. Like I could just say like hi, for example, and we'll get a response here. Oops, that's that's a glitch because I was loading the other chat. I'll say hi. All right, so obviously it's not like a fully perfect production application because I built this just as like a foundation of a chat application. You can think of it like a really simple version of ChatGPT or Claude.ai. And what I'm going to do with this application is I'm going to use agent teams to build a payment integration so that users can purchase tokens and they consume tokens to talk to the agent. And in order to do this, I'm going to be integrating with Chargebee. So this is like a Stripe sort of application where you can build monetization into your products, into your platforms. And so we're going to be building with Chargebee here. It's a solution that I've been really appreciating recently for building monetization into platforms. And they have a skill, a Chargebee integration, where we can build this skill into our code base. So Claude Code immediately has access to understanding how to build effectively with Chargebee to make sure you avoid hallucinations because of the training cutoffs that LLMs have. And so we're going to be building with this. And so we're going to have to touch the back end, the front end, and the database. We're going to have to change the database schema to support transactions and tokens on users. And we're going to have to build in user authentication. I'm going to be using Supabase for that. And then we have to touch the front end, obviously, to have a page for billing. We have to touch the back end to work with the leveraging the tokens when we are interacting with the agent. So there's a lot that we have to do here. So we're going to be able to use an agent team to work in parallel, working on the front end, back end, and database. So it's a really, really good use case. I've done some work before in workshops last year where I built a payment integration on top of an agentic chat application. And I want to do it again just because it's a really good example of something that's not trivial. It's not really easy to build a payment processor into an application, but I can definitely do it with just one run of agent teams. And so it's the perfect level of complexity. And so we're going to get into that. We're going to be using agent teams here. And so my plan is to start by creating a plan with the coding agent. So I'm going to be using Claude Code for this. Obviously, it'd be cool to use Kiro, but agent teams isn't supported in Kiro. So I'll be using Claude Code here. And so I'll work on top of this existing application. So I'll just say like, hey, Claude, based on this application, what are your ideas for how I can build a payment integration? And then I'll have it ideate with me. I'll show you what this process looks like because the planning process is just as important as the actual implementation, if not more. So there are some new strategies that I've been coming up with recently for how to plan effectively with coding agents that I want to showcase to you guys. And then once I have the plan, I will send it into Claude Code to spin up an agent team and knock it out. And then while that goes in parallel, that's where I will do more of a fun example where we'll just try to like see how many agents we can have running at once with agent teams. So hope that sounds good to you guys. I'm excited for this. And so I'll just give you like one more demo of this application really quickly, just to show you what we are building on top of here. So one thing that's really funny, there's this use case circling around like LinkedIn and X right now where you can ask the agent a question and you just immediately trick it and it falls flat on its face. Have you guys heard of the car wash question? You know what I'm talking about? If anyone's in Dynamous and was a part of the mini hackathon yesterday, you know what I'm talking about. Does anyone know the car wash question? I'll start typing it out here. I know there's a stream delay, but I'll say like I need to get a car wash. The car wash is only 200 feet from my house. Should I drive over or just walk because it is so close? All right. So, let me know in the chat. Do you know the answer to this question? Like there's only one definitive answer here. I'm gonna go ahead and hit enter. We'll get a response from the agent. Take a look at that. It says we should walk. It's very close, saves gas and wear, easier parking, you won't need to find a spot. The only reason to drive would be if you have mobility issues or bad weather. Interesting. Interesting. So, okay, someone said we should drive, which that is the correct answer. We need to drive. And the reason for that is pretty simple. Because if you're going to get a car wash, you need your car to be there. And we can ask it like, no, really think through this step by step. It's actually quite interesting. If you have the agent think through it step by step, then it realizes I was overthinking it's close, so walk. Because I missed the obvious. You can't wash a car that isn't there, so drive your car to the car wash. It's pretty interesting, isn't it? That even the most powerful LLMs, now Opus 4.6 will sometimes get this right, but even sometimes Opus 4.6 will say to walk. But if I go to a new chat here, I paste it in and I say, think through this step by step, literally that's all I have to add to my prompt in order for it to get it right. Take a look at this. Um, well, of course, now when I do it live, it still says to walk. But if I try a new chat, think about this very deeply and walk through it step by step. Usually you can get haiku. This is running haiku 4.5 under the hood, by the way. There we go. Okay, so now it gets it right. So if you tell it to think deeply and walk through it step by step, that's all you have to add for it to get the right answer. So even though it's close, the car wash needs your vehicle. So the car wouldn't be washed by your arrival anyway, if you are walking. There you go. So it gets the right answer. So anyway, I'm just giving like a quick demonstration of the application we're building on top of here with something interesting I thought you guys would find funny. Because agents and large language models, they hallucinate with even basic things right now. It's kind of crazy how you can still trip them up, even though we've had such big advancements in large language models over the past couple of years. Now, like obviously, like GPT 3.5 Turbo or old, really old models used to be able to like jailbreak all of the time in crazy ways. Like you could have it tell you how to make a bomb, for example, because you're doing it for educational purposes. So a lot of those jailbreaks aren't possible anymore, but there still are questions that totally make it fall flat on its face, which I think is pretty interesting. All right, so anyway, let's go ahead and build a payment integration on top of this. And so what I'm going for here is like I want some kind of button in the top right to be able to go to my building page, and then from there I want to be able to buy a token package. Like I want 50 tokens so I can talk to the agent 50 times, right? It's that kind of simple thing. So I can track my tokens up here. It'll automatically deduct tokens when I send a message. That's what I'm going for to build on top of this application. So again, not something trivial, but we still will be able to knock this out with a single run of agent teams if I do a good enough job planning. And so, speaking of the planning, let's get into that now. That's the first thing that we have to do. So, I have the application cloned locally. What I was showing you here, I'm just running it in localhost right now. And so, I'll go into my Claude code and let's start our planning process here. So I'm going to do Claude. And for the sake of brevity for this stream, to make sure that everything goes really quickly, I'm just going to run in YOLO mode here. And so what I'm about to show you guys is a really good example of brownfield development. We have an existing application, and now I'm going to do some planning with Claude Code to create a comprehensive feature on top of our existing application. And the planning process is so important. And what I generally do to start is I do what's called a prime. And so I have a command for this, just slash prime. And what it does is it walks the coding agent through a step-by-step process of understanding the code base, right? It's super simple here. There's a lot of different versions of prime commands that you can build, but the goal here is to set the context up front for the conversation. Here is all the core files for the code base, so you now understand what you need to do to research this new feature that I'm going to ask you to build. And generally my prime commands aren't so like, here's this file, this file, this file. I just set it up this way to make it really brief here. But usually it's more dynamic. I ask it to like search through the code base, understand all the core files and read them, and then come back to me and give me a report of all of like just everything that you understand about the code base. And so I'll let it finish its prime here, and then we'll get on to the planning. And so again, I will run a prime command at the start of every single new conversation when I want to build something new. All right. So yeah, the next thing that I want to do, actually while it's running the prime here, I can just go and ask it to build the next feature. So I don't know why my Tmux is kind of looking glitchy here. You guys see that? It's like typing below here instead of in the chat. I assume that'll go away once it's done with running the linting here. But anyway, another thing that I'm going to be using for my demonstration here is Aqua Voice. So if you're in the Dynamous community, if you have been on my channel in the past, you've seen me use Aqua Voice a lot before because this is my speech to text tool. I can talk into my microphone and then I can put that text in any box that I want, any text box that I want. Browser, Claude Desktop, Claude Code, like we're doing right here. It is a fantastic tool. I have actually, it's kind of crazy. I have spoken 620,000 words in Aqua Voice. Gonna do a couple more thousand here. So, all right, I'll go into Aqua Voice and say, okay, so yeah, priming is done here. So I'll say, I am looking to build a payment integration into my application. Specifically, I am interested in integrating with Chargebee. So I want to touch the database front end and back end here. So we're going to have to do a lot of planning to build the Chargebee payment integration. I want users to be able to purchase tokens in order to talk to the agent that I have configured in this application already. And so we're going to have to set up a couple of packages in Chargebee, and then we're going to have to integrate those. We're going to have to create a billing page in the front end, and then we're going to have to set it up so that users purchase tokens, and then it's one token deducted per interaction with the agent. And we're going to have to think about some other functionality like refunding the token if the agent has an error and things like that. And so there's a lot we have to ideate around here. So I want you to go through the code base and help me understand how I can build a Chargebee payment integration into this application. And then after you do some research, I also want you to search the web a lot so that you understand how to build with Chargebee. You can use the Chargebee skill that I have integrated here as well. And so, yeah, this is the Chargebee skill right here, by the way. And so once you understand how to work with my code base and integrate Chargebee, then I want you to ask me a bunch of questions. This is the big thing here because we're going to clear up any confusion, make sure we're on the same page with every single way that we're going to integrate this new feature into the code base. So ask me a lot of questions for things like how the building should work and how the front end will look and how we'll manage tokens and things like that. All right. So I know that's a lot of a big just brain dump that I gave here. But that's what I do with my planning is I start really unstructured at first. I just give a big brain dump of what I want it to look into, searching through the code base, searching the web. It's using the Chargebee integration skill that I showed earlier as well. So that way it knows like it has basically perfect documentation on how to build with Chargebee into my Next.js application here. And then the big thing that I want to focus on with you guys here is asking the questions. So I told it specifically to ask me questions after it explores the code base because the number one goal of planning is to reduce the number of assumptions that the AI coding assistant is making building the new feature. Let me say that again. That is worth repeating. The number one goal of planning is to reduce the number of assumptions the coding agent is making because there are two kinds of mistakes a coding agent can make. And technically both are your fault. It can just write bad code because your plan isn't clear enough or you didn't do enough validation, or it can just deviate from what you want it to build. Like maybe it's just misaligned with exactly how you're going to build that feature. And so something that I've started doing a lot that I'm showing you guys right here is literally just telling it to ask me a bunch of questions. Like I'm not happy unless it's asking me at least 10 questions here. Like how do you want to set up the billing page? Or how should we structure the packages for purchasing the tokens? How should we showcase the Chargebee payment page? Like I'm going to have it ask me all of those things. And then if there's anything that I think it didn't ask me, I'll just tell it to do that. And I've started to really prefer this approach over just trying to specify everything in prompts. Like, of course, I could just say like, I want the billing to look like this. The package prices should be 10, 15, and $25, right? Like you can specify all of that in the chat, but the reason I like having it ask me questions is a lot of times it'll ask questions that I didn't even really think I needed to. Like it's making some other kind of assumption that I didn't even realize I had to specify. And Claude Code has this new feature built in, and I think it's like maybe a month old at this point, but it has this ask user question tool where it can pop up a multiple choice thing here, which also just makes it really fast. Like if as long as it is on the same page with me and I can just go with its recommended option, then I can just click through things really quickly. And and also like if I need to, I can type my own answer in the text box. So I can get really specific if I want, or if it already has like a good recommendation, I can just hit enter and then go on to the next question. So you'll see that in a little bit here. Also, one thing that it realizes that there's no authentication built in, so I'll say I want to use Supabase auth as well, by the way. So I'll just send that in so it knows that for when it comes to me with the questions here. All right, so now we have to wait a little bit for everything to be ready. Wait, hold on. I need to send that in again. I want to use Supabase auth, by the way. All right. So while we wait for the agent to go here, and we're gonna have to wait a couple of times during the planning and the implementation as well, I want to take this as an opportunity to do another implementation with agent teams in parallel, where we just try to push the limits of what is possible with agent teams. So I want to build something that requires us to use like 10 agents in parallel. I don't know what that could even be, but I want you guys to share with me in the chat right now. What's like a crazy idea for an application I could build that would need like, I don't know, like 10 agents in the team or something. Like what's some like big application I could try to build right now just so we can see a ton of terminals going at the same time. I'm curious if you guys have some ideas. Also, I could just like go and ask Claude Desktop as well. I would be curious. So let me open up a new chat here. I want to build something crazy with Claude agent teams. Search the web for that. What is a realistic app I could build that could also use a team of like 10 agents in the team? I'm just gonna see if I can get some ideas. Okay, a city traffic simulation. That's an interesting idea. A non-linear video editor. Okay, an operating system or a browser. Those are some big ideas for sure. How do you handle security and data privacy? Well, I mean, one of the agents on our team could be a security analysis agent. But usually what you do is you would have a part of the validation process after the agent team is done that would like go through the code and validate security and data privacy and things like that. So that's a part of I would say the validation process that you do with the lead agent after. Because definitely there are some issues that come up when it gets the code gets a bit messier when you're working with agent teams, and that's why I'm saying it's more of an experimental feature, but I think that Asian teams is going to evolve to the point where it truly is going to be the way that most people are engineering applications, as long as we can make it token efficient and make it so that the agents are truly coordinating in a way where you don't have a mess of a code base. And I think that sometimes can happen right now with agent teams. Train an LLM, do something for humanity, something pro people. That'd be an incredible starting point for live. I mean, I'm open to suggestions for something like that. Create a data transformation layer for AI agents that is compatible with CLI tools, instant A to A communication in real time. Very cool idea. Electronics designer, any form or professional thingy. Build a unique Python code tool. I think you'd have to get a little bit more specific on that. Um, okay, full stack SaaS app builder. Ship a complete SaaS application in one session. So you have the architect, the backend API, database and auth, front end core layout, front end feature pages. Oh man, that is a big application. Oh, and then it even gives me how I prompted in Claude Code. That's pretty cool. Build a GitLab clone. I actually like that idea. That would be interesting. Let's see. You know what I might do? I like the city traffic simulation. Like I feel like I could turn this into a pretty crazy idea just to like push the limits of what is possible here. Um, I might do that. I might just kind of like take this prompt and build a full stack SaaS application for a traffic simulation. Because I think that'd have like a really cool user interface as well. So yeah, I'll do that in a little bit, but first of all, let's go back here because I want to start the planning process with our payment integration. This is the main use case that I want to build in the stream here, and then we'll kind of like just go back and do that for fun when we're waiting for the agent to finish here. So anyway, like I was saying with the planning process, the core part of this is the questions that it is asking me. And so we've already got it asking really good questions here. So let's go through this. So the previous branch had a full working implementation. Obviously, I tested this before the live stream to make sure that everything was working really well. But I still want to build it from scratch with you guys. So I want to ignore it entirely. So I'm going to build something from scratch to really show this full implementation end to end. The chat is currently unauthenticated. Should chat now require Supabase auth so we can track token balance per user? Yes, we will require authentication. What token package? 3 tiers is good to me. Should users get free tokens when they sign up? Yes, 10 tokens. So I gave a good example there of like most of the time I'm just going through the multiple choice, just selecting options. Look at how fast that allows me to go through the Q&A with the agent here. And then at the very end, there was one example where I did want to write my own thing, more of a classic, like let me give a free form answer to the agent. So I'll go ahead and submit my answers. And Claude Code is programmed in a way where it only asks a few questions at a time, but it's going to give me more questions in a little bit here. And so it'll think through what I gave it, and then in a second here, we should see more multiple choice pop up. There we go. Perfect. Okay. So what defines a token consumption? When should one token be deducted? So we're getting pretty specific here, but this is exactly what I'm looking for. Again, reducing the assumptions the coding agent is making. And so I'll say per conversation turn. So one token is deducted per full round trip. So user message plus AI response. So if the LLM call fails, then what should happen? So yes, I want to auto refund the token. Where should the billing page live in the app navigation? Let's do dashboard slash billing. Or I'll just do like slash billing here. I think I'll keep it simple. What should happen if the chat UI, or what happened in the chat UI when a user has 0 tokens? So we'll say disable input and show a buy tokens button. Yeah, that sounds great to me. So submit those answers. Very good. And then we'll just see if it keeps coming up with more. And then at this point, I want to be thinking to myself as well, what other questions should it be asking that it hasn't yet? Because Claude Code is oftentimes never going to be perfect with understanding exactly everything we're going to build. Maybe there's other things I have set up ahead of time. Like I already have my Chargebee account, so I probably want to tell it about that for the planning as well. So just trying to think through like literally everything I possibly can to remove those assumptions. So, okay, even more questions. Good. Keep them coming, Claude. Keep them coming. For the first 3 token pack tiers, what quantities and prices do you want? So, let's see here. 50 tokens for, well, let's do it this way. So I'll say $5 for 100 tokens, and then we'll do $10 for 250 tokens. So we want to make it more bang for your buck over time. Then $25 for 500 tokens. Isn't that? Or wait, no, that's not good because it'd be 600. There we go. Okay, there we go. All right, so how should the billing page look? What components do you want? So do I want a full billing page, token, balance card, 3 purchase cards, transaction history, or just a minimal purchase page? You know what? Let's go for it. Let's go for the full billing page. Should we use Chargebee's hosted checkout page, redirects to Chargebee, then back, or an embedded in-app experience? Yeah, let's go through a hosted checkout. That is definitely going to be less for us to maintain then. And then it'll redirect to billing success after and update our token balance. That is perfect. Good. And like there's a lot of different ways that you can integrate with Chargebee. And so I'm really glad that it's asking all the right questions here. Claude Code just does such a good job of asking the right questions. Like honestly, there's probably not that many other things I'm going to have to specify at this point. Do you want the token balance to be visible in the chat header? always visible while chatting. Yes, that is 100% what I'm looking for. And that's what I was even saying earlier is going back to the UI here. I want there to be something like right here that says my token balance and then some kind of link to go to the billing page as well. Which that's one thing I probably need to specify here. I didn't really ask about that. It's like how would the user get to the billing page from the home page of the site here where we're chatting with the agent. So I'll probably specify that if it doesn't ask in a little bit. So for the database, should token balances be stored as a single balance per row or as a ledger of all transactions? Yeah, balance in ledger is good. Should tokens be deducted before sending the message? Yes. And then do you already have a Chargebee account set up? Yeah. So this is actually where I want to specify some more things here. So I'm going to say, yes, I already have Chargebee set up, and I even have a ngrok set up here, ready to go. So I have the Chargebee webhook that's already set up to send requests to /API/webhooks/Chargebee. And I already have all the environment variables set up in my .env for Chargebee. And so we should be able to go right into our end-to-end testing with the Vercel agent browser CLI once we have all the code written for the Chargebee integration. So that's very important for you to keep in mind going into the plan that I'll create with you in a little bit. And so there is some work that I did ahead of time to get things set up just to make our build, our live build here faster. So I already have a Chargebee account set up. I'll show you this here. And this is how like all payment platforms work, by the way, is they have a webhook. So whenever you make a purchase in the platform, it's going to send a request to this webhook so that we can process the payment. Like in our case, we're going to add the tokens to the user record in our Supabase database. And we can even like test this webhook to make sure. Oh, it looks like I have to log back in here because my page just grew stale, but I'll log back in and then we can like test the webhook, which it's going to I think it's going to fail right now. Yep, it's going to fail right now because we haven't implemented the endpoint yet. But in the testing that I did yesterday to make sure that this live build worked smoothly, obviously I built the webhook and I tested it here and everything was good to go. So we have it set up on the Chargebee side where it's ready to send the requests here. So now all we need our coding agent to do is implement this API endpoint that handles when there's a successful purchase so we can update the tokens for the user in the database. And so I'm using ngrok because this is my way to get an HTTPS URL so that I can expose this to the World Wide Web so that we can handle the requests coming in from Chargebee. So very cool. All right, so with that, let me collapse that for now, go back to the agent, and I'll send this in. So for webhooks and local development, do you have a tunneling tool set up? Yes, I already have ngrok set up, like I explained in the previous answer. So one thing that Claude Code doesn't do here is it doesn't make the questions dynamic based on what you've answered previously. And so it doesn't really know yet that like I already explained that, which is why I have to send that in. But I think that's also why Claude Code only asks a few questions at a time, because that way it can make sure that it didn't just send you like 20 questions in a row, but then your answer to the second one makes it so it has to ask you like an entirely different set of 18 questions coming up. So I like what it does here. So honestly, like it's probably asking more questions than I'd really want at this point, but that's all good because I shouldn't really complain. The more questions, the better, honestly, because it's quite a bit of context that it's spending here asking me these questions. But once I create the plan, I'm going to go into a brand new context session, a brand new session with the coding agent because the structured plan at that point is the only context I need to get the job done. It's a big thing that I teach in the Dynamous agentic coding course is after you create your plan, that's all the context your agent needs. You can now reset the context window and then go into the implementation. And so, by the way, a lot of what I am teaching here right now is what I get into in a lot of detail in the Dynamous Agentic Coding course. So I do want to call it out one more time really quick, and then we'll get back into our build here. And so, yeah, if you were here earlier in the live stream, you know about this, but I just want to call this out really quick that there is a live stream special going on for the Dynamis community right now, and this discount will go away at the end of the live stream. And so take advantage of this now. You receive 20% off, 20% special off the normal price for the community if you sign up during this live event right now. This is the only time to take advantage of this. We got the new agentic coding course in Dynamis, access to all current and future courses. You're locking in this price for life. Weekly workshops that I do covering agentic coding, all the new second brain stuff that I'm working on with Obsidian and Claude Code, my own version of OpenClaw. There's a lot going on in the community. People sharing ideas with each other every single day, templates for building agents and agentic coding systems. I've got it all in the community. And so, like I always say, I give away a lot of things for free on my YouTube channel, but Dynamous is always my place to go deeper. And I'm doing the special right now for the live stream. So take advantage of this, because if anything that you're seeing right now in this live build is interesting to you, I take things a lot further in the community to help you build whatever you're looking to build with coding agents. So yeah, with that, let's continue with the questions here. And then once it actually creates the plan, then we'll get back to our live build here, or our second live build, where I'm going to be doing all the work with the agent teams. So all right, for webhook security, how should we verify incoming Chargebee webhook requests? I will say here, I have a username and password set in the .env. All right, should we handle webhook item potency, duplicate events? Chargebee may send events multiple times. No, keep it simple. Honestly, I don't think we're going to really have race conditions with that. For the billing page, transaction history, what information should each row show? Let's say, simple list. I want some things to be. I don't need it to be like too comprehensive. Okay, here we go. This is good. So you mentioned using the Vercel agent browser CLI for end-to-end testing. Should the plan include specific end-to-end test scenarios? Yes, you always want to define your validation up front. This is another really important thing to keep in mind. Is as a part of the structure plan, we will tell the agent, here's the linting and type checking we want you to do. Make sure you write unit tests and run the unit tests. And then the end-to-end testing, this is the most powerful part. There's also a lot of content that I've been doing on my YouTube channel recently using the Vercel agent browser CLI. It's a very powerful browser automation tool that allows the agent to spin up a browser and test the website just as a user would. And it's a big upgrade over other tools I've used in the past, like the Playwright or Puppeteer MCP servers. And so, yes, I want this to be a big part of the plan so the agent can self-validate. So that way, by the time the final result comes back to me, it's actually tested everything. It's gone through, purchased tokens with Chargebee, interacted with the agent, and made sure that tokens are deducted. Like, I want it to do all of that validation. I want to give it the power to do that before it even writes a single line of code. So, okay, oh, there's so many questions here. Should Chargebee items be created manually in the Chargebee dashboard? I want you to set up the items in Chargebee as a part of the implementation. So include this in the plan. And I'll just say like once we actually create the plan, because right now I'm not having it actively create the plan yet. I'm going to ask it to do that once I've gone through everything I feel like I need to here. So for the conversation to user relationship, since chat currently has no user ID, should conversations be tied to authenticated users? Yes, that is important. What should the Chargebee customer ID be? Supabase, that's right. Okay, very good. So, man, we have asked a lot of questions at this point. I really hope we're getting to the end of it soon here. And we can always close out of the next set of questions and just say, like, hey, I think we got everything we need. Okay, a few final clarifying questions. So we're almost there, but this is like really good. And it's not that many tokens overall. So this is super high value, not too token heavy. You said the billing page should be at Flash Billing. Should this be under the dashboard layout at dashboard billing or a standalone page? Um, sure. I guess we can do that. For the Chargebee item setup, should it be a standalone script or part of existing? We'll do standalone. Should the chat page redirect to login if not authenticated? Yes. Okay, submit answers. Okay, I think at this point we have what we need. All right. I appreciate it. Hey, Cole. Just wanted to say I really appreciate your content. Thanks for all the hard work you put in for us. You are very welcome. I appreciate the kind words a lot. Thank you. All right. Cool. So anyway, we are now going into planning mode here because it has everything that we need and it's going to create the plan, which I'm actually going to interrupt it here because I have my own work that my own way that I want it to do this. So one thing that I really like using, and I cover this a lot in the agentic coding course as well, is I have my plan command. This works better for me than the plan mode and the planning process that is built into Claude Code. So it's a command where I just describe what I want to build, and then it's going to create a very structured plan. So the way that I always do my planning process with coding agents is I start unstructured. Like you guys already saw, I just kind of give a brain dump of what I'm looking to build. I have it search the web and search the code base, ask me questions, and now I'm going to formalize all of this into a structured plan. And so that is what this command does. And so I'm going to do /plan, create an implementation plan. And then, well, actually, one thing that I realized, this is kind of like a bug with Opus 4.6, is I called this plan command the same as the internal Claude plan command. And so usually I just have it look at this path. So hold on, let me copy this path. And I'll say, look here and use this command now. Let's create the structured plan for this Chargebee payment integration, which, by the way, this is how you use commands for any coding agent that doesn't support them directly like Claude Code. This is just a little bit of a workaround I have to do because I just have a bad name for the plan command because it's the same as the internal one. Like you'll see if I do /plan, then there's like two versions and Claude Code gets confused. I just forgot to change the name beforehand. So I just tell it to look there, and because commands are just markdown, it can read that, and then it's the same as if I just did /plan with the right command. So this is going to take a little bit. So now we can get into that other use case while we're waiting here. And then also you guys can feel free to ask any questions. We can have a little bit of a time for Q&A while we are waiting for both to run as well. So I'm going to copy this command and let me just edit it in here. So create an agent team to build a full stack SaaS application for a traffic simulation app with a beautiful and fancy UI. I don't know. We'll do something kind of fun. We'll have more fun with this one. The Chargebee payment integration is more like my real demonstration of agent teams once we take the plan and send it in. This is just something I want to do for fun because we can do this while we're waiting for the other one to build. So let's go into Claude here. You can see that I have already enabled the experimental agent teams feature. So you can either enable it by updating your settings.json or setting the environment variable for the session. And so let me go to the right browser tab here. All of this is explained in the official docs page for agent teams. So you can just Google like Anthropic agent teams and this will come up. So it shows you how to enable it. And this is the diagram I showed earlier for how it works. They give a lot of really good information here for generally just how to get good results with agent teams. And so let me close out of these here. So I'm going to go ahead and paste in this prompt. There we go. So create an agent team to build a full stack SaaS app for a traffic simulation app with a beautiful and fancy UI. And I'm being very specific here. I want to create a lot of team members. So we're going to have fun with this. We'll have both going in parallel here. So let's kind of jump between them as we're waiting for different things. And this is going to be interesting. I've never run an agent team this big. So I'm curious how this will go. And I'm not this since this is more for fun or like to demonstrate how far we can take agent teams, I'm not going to go through the full planning process with this one. That's why I have the other more serious implementation going on right here. So you can see that it's still kind of chugging along here. So it used the plan command, it loaded the skill at least for it, and then it's doing research under the code base here. So we'll let it go for a little bit, and let's see how this one's going. All right, so team created. Now let me set up all the tasks with proper dependencies. And so the lead agent, the way that it works is before it spins up the agent team, so before we see these other tmux terminals show up in parallel, it has to define the shared task list. And then as it spins up the different tmux terminals, it also has to create the prompt that's going to be sent into each of the agents. And so there's usually a bit of a delay. Like you'll see one agent come up at first, and then it looks like it's not doing anything in parallel because there's only one agent running. But then you'll start to see more terminals spun out because it takes a bit to like generate the tokens for the prompt for each of the agents. And yeah, it's really taking its time with this, but that's good because it's a pretty big application that I'm asking it to build here. So let me take a look at how things are going. Okay, so we have our plan here. Very good, very good. So I'm going to go into plans. So it outputted it into my .agents plans folder. So let's view a preview here. So I always recommend, I won't spend too much time for the sake of brevity here, but I always recommend doing a very in-depth review of the plan before you send it into implementation. And the reason for that is pretty simple. Your plan is very high leverage, right? Like one error in your plan can lead to hundreds of lines of bad code. But one line of bad code is just one line of bad code. So you really need to make sure that your plan is well structured and actually aligned with what you are looking to build. Now, because I had it ask me so many clarifying questions, I shouldn't really have any issues in my plan here. That's the whole goal, reducing the assumptions up front by having it ask me questions, but it's still important to go through and check everything. And so you don't have to go through every single line. And I'm definitely not going to do that on a live stream here. But I at least want to do like a quick sanity check to make sure that everything's structured right. I mean, this is all following the exact structure for a plan that I have outlined in my plan command, right? Like I want to start with the summary, the user story, the key decisions that we're making here. So this is all based on the questions that it asked me, by the way. So we can directly see all of our work going directly into this plan. And then we have the different patterns that it's going to follow based on what we already have in the code base. This is very important for brownfield development. We have to make sure that we are following the conventions that we already have set in the code base. Otherwise, our code base is going to become an unmaintainable mess as we're building more features if they're not following the same convention. And then we have the task list. So it broke things down very nice for us for things that we have to change in the database, the backend, and the front end. And then the other thing that I want to pay really special attention to here is the validation. I want to make sure that it's very comprehensive with the end-to-end validation using the agent browser CLI. So here are all of the user journeys that it's going to test. And yeah, this is a lot, but this is really important. It is worth it to me to spend the extra tokens during the validation to make sure that we are testing every single way that a user can use the new feature that we have built. So this looks fantastic to me. In fact, I'm actually going to take this and put it right into implementation here. And so I'm going to, and it's great because we never even had to compact our conversation. We did everything that we needed for planning within the single context window for Claude Codes. This is great. So I'm going to open up a new instance. I'm going to keep this open just in case I need to adjust anything in the plan or ask any questions over the plan. I'm going to go into Tmux here so I can use the agent teams. And then within this repository, I already have it enabled. If I go in the .claude folder, you can see in the settings.local.json, I have the Claude Code experimental agent team set to 1. So we've got it enabled. I just need to go into Claude here. And then obviously, again, I'll just use dangerously skip permissions so that things are fast. Do not want to approve things in the middle of a live stream here. And then what I'll do next is I will use a command. So build with agent team. This is a command that I covered recently on my YouTube channel. So let me actually go back to my channel here. I want to show this really quick for anyone that is curious. Because Claude Code by itself is surprisingly not that good at using Claude agent teams because it is such an experimental feature. The problem with building in parallel is there are a lot of blockers that you have. Like you have to define the database schema before the backend agent can really do anything and things like that. And so I've built a command that essentially guides Claude Code on how to more effectively use agent teams. So it's not trying to do literally everything in parallel. There are some things we can do in parallel, but my command implements what I call a contract first approach. The lead agent defines the contracts between the front end, back end, and database, and anything else similar to that. And then it sends that in as part of the prompt to each of the agents running in the team. So they can work in parallel, but they still have that sort of coordination defined up front. And this has been working really, really well for me. So I cover that in this video right here. If you're curious, if you want to dive more into that on my channel, I've got that. So what build with agent teams does is it's a command that includes all those instructions. And so all I have to do is pass in the path to the plan. So I'll copy the relative path here. And then the second parameter that I have with this skill, I'll just show this really quick. So I'll go to where is it? Skills, build with agent team. The second parameter here is the number of agents. And so if you don't specify this, you actually allow Claude Code to decide the number of agents that you're going to have in the team. So it can figure that out based on your plan. It's really dynamic because what this command does is it takes the plan, figures out how do I split this work into different agents in the team, and then how do I define like what is parallel versus what do I need to define as the contracts up front, right? Like we have the contract first approach. Define the contracts, map that before you start spinning up all of the agents, right? Like it's only step 5 where we actually spawn all the agents in parallel. So we're still doing most of the work in parallel, but we're doing all of that really important stuff up front so the agents don't have to step on each other's toes as much. So for this case, to keep it more deterministic, I'm going to say that I want 3 agents. So I'm going to actually define that myself. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and send this in. Also going to say, make sure you use the Chargebee skill as you implement. Very important that the backend and front end agents do that. So it's something that I probably should have included in my plan, but I'm just going to be very explicit here because this is going to be super important to make sure that it doesn't do any kind of code hallucinations with Chargebee. So I'm going to take advantage of this skill. This is something that I really appreciate about Chargebee. And most SaaS platforms that you're going to bring in as a tool in your code base, a library or just some kind of capability you're paying for, it's pretty important. I think this is also the future of agentic coding is every single platform that you integrate is going to have some skill that you can bring into your coding agent so it knows how to best leverage the SDK, right? Like this is like a guide for how we can use the Chargebee SDK to build things properly first try in our Next.js code. And this does make a real difference. I tested building both without the skill and with it. And it's very, very helpful giving context to the agents because a lot of times agents, because of their training cutoff, they don't know the right documentation for these libraries, or they maybe don't know it at all because it's a newer platform. And so being able to give it easy access to update information, it's something that I worked on a lot last year with Archon, but now a lot of these tools are just building that in, like what we have right here with the Chargebee skill. So very good that we include that as well. All right. Dangerous, aka I can afford to trash this PC. I've never had it actually trash my PC before, luckily. All right. So how do your interview answers transfer to your plan? That is a good question. So kind of like what I showed live here, the way that it transferred is I create the plan in the same conversation where it asked all the questions. And so we saw that in the plan directly where I'll open that up again really quick here. So if I go to plans, if I go back up to the top of this one, the key decisions from the Q&A, this is included as part of the plan. So everything directly maps here. We didn't lose anything. This is perfect. So that's how it maps there. All right. What is the difference between skills and commands? I saw that you had 2 different folders. Yeah, so they have been merged by Claude Code as of a couple of weeks ago. The only reason I have 2 different folders here is it's kind of legacy. Like these, I just have been using these commands for a long time, and skills and commands used to be separate. So I just copied this over to this code base, but I could put everything in the skills directory now. In fact, I probably should have done that just to make this code base cleaner for you guys, but it's just a legacy thing. But everything is merged now. So there still kind of is a distinction because when you use a command, like you do slash plan or slash build with team, then you're the one deciding to use that instruction. When you invoke a skill, that's actually the agent deciding to do that. Like the agent says, okay, let me load the Excalidraw skill because Cole in his second brain says he wants to build an Excalidraw diagram. So command is you run it, skill is the agent invokes it. It's really the one distinction there. Otherwise, they're pretty much the same. So All right, very cool. We can see that we have the core agent. I guess our lead agent decided to create a core agent for our implementation of Chargebee. Very, very cool. So it's starting by claiming task number one in that shared task list. And then in the meantime, our lead agent here is spinning up the other two agents in parallel. So we'll let that go. Let's also check on the other one here. Take a look at that. So we have our architect that it's running at first. It's interesting that it decided to not run things in parallel. So that's kind of, well, let me see. I'm gonna say like you need to be running way more agents in parallel here. I'm just gonna send this in. So this more like for fun implementation, I wasn't as specific with it. This is another problem with Claude Code and the agent teams is sometimes it won't actually start all the agents in parallel. So you don't really have the main benefit of agent teams in the first place. And so, yeah, I'm just asking it here. Like, let's launch all the agents parallel. So it's going to go ahead and do that for us. So we're going to have a ton of terminals pop up here, which I'm really looking forward to seeing. Sean said, "How does the agent team avoid code collisions?" So the way it does that is it's going to actually claim a task from the shared task list, and we're trusting the lead agent to define those tasks in a way where they aren't colliding with each other. But then we can also make it so that as the teams or as the agents in the team are talking to each other, they'll communicate to each other like, hey, I'm changing this file. Make sure you don't touch that right now. Now, the agents in the team don't always do that. That's part of the problem as well. It's very non-deterministic, like I said, but as long as the task list is defined well enough, there won't really be that many code collisions. So we'll see here, especially for 10 agents. That's kind of part of what I want to test here, Sean, is I want to see how much they step on each other's toes. So yeah, this is going to consume a lot of tokens, but it's definitely worth it. It's for the live stream, right, guys? uh, so we'll see. We'll see how well this works. So let me go back to the other agent here. So, okay, we got our three Chargebee agents running at the same time. So we have a core, a front end, and a back end agent. I assume the core agent is working more on like the database schema and like the authorization stuff. I'm not actually sure entirely. But you can always ask it, right? So like what I can do is I can do, so by the way, in Tmux, you can do Control B to switch around to the different agents. So like right here, I'm talking in the terminal for the main agent. If I do Control B again, then now I'm talking in the yellow terminal, the middle agent in the team. If I do Control B and press up, then I'm now talking in the blue agent text box. So we can interrupt any of these agents and talk to them in real time. So we can say like, hey, make sure you claim this task, or make sure you communicate to the backend agent that you did this. So we can course correct in the middle if we want. Not that I would do that a lot, but one thing that I could do here is I could like ask the main agent, what is the core agent responsible for? So while it's waiting for the other agents to run, I can ask questions in the meantime. So it's very interactive for us as well. We don't have to just like send this all off and then have it go and just trust that it's going to do a good job. We can do validation in the middle if we want. So it produces the contracts that the back end and front end agents depend on. Okay, cool. So I guess I feel like that's something the lead agent maybe could have done itself. Like it should have maybe defined those contracts, but I guess it kind of like delegated to the core agent to make sure that the front end and back end are coordinating well together. Which I've never seen it decide to do that before. So that's interesting, but we'll see how well this ends up working in the end. But the whole point of the plan here is that once all of these agents are done running in parallel, control will be passed back to our lead agent to do all the end-to-end validation. And I can even tell it, like, if you encounter any issues in the front end or back end, make sure you spin up the front end or back end agent again to address those things and then redo the validation. Right? Like our goal is for it to, with the validation at the end of the plan, run everything, find anything that isn't working perfectly, fix those things, and then retest, and then just iterate and iterate and iterate until everything is perfect. And that does take a good amount of tokens, but to me, that's very worth it because when I go through this full process, like I'm showing you guys here, generally what I get back to me at the end of the implementation is really, really good and it saves me so much time of having to like work with the agent myself. I love having end-to-end validation, especially with the agent browser CLI. Like I've been testing a lot recently. All right. The encoding is fried. I hope you're talking about the terminal here and not the stream. I might have had a little blip in the internet, so I hope that's okay. I hope it's better now. Let me know, guys, if everything is looking good in the stream, because I know that there's like a lot happening on my screen and that might like affect things. Um, Whoa, do you guys see this? Okay, there actually might be a problem with my computer with this many agents running. Oh, there's so many agents running now. In fact, it's so tiny. Each terminal is so tiny, I can't even see the work that they're doing. Okay, the voice was bad for a bit, but better now. Okay, it probably was just because there are so many agents running. In fact, my terminal is crashed now. It literally is frozen. Boom, that's right, Sean. Boom. That's what happened to my terminal here. It went boom. Okay, so our secondary test for fun might be a goner here. That is unfortunate. That's too bad. Honestly, I'm not too surprised though. Yeah, tax my CPU affecting your voice. Right, that's probably what was happening. So we might have to call it quits on this one. I'm gonna close out of that terminal. So, well, we saw it spin up 10 agents in parallel, so that was cool, but we couldn't see it build something because it's probably better for my token usage anyway that it didn't decide to do that. All right. Well, okay, I'm gonna go into my task manager quick, and I'm gonna make sure that it's not running all those things behind the scenes still. So I'm going to close out of Docker as well because my RAM is like being capped. That is not good. Okay, it's end, end. Okay, and then how many terminals do I have running? I'm just looking at my task manager off camera really quick here because my computer is like freezing up on me now. Uh-oh. My whole computer is just freezing. I hope that these agents are still running. That explains why the audio got better. Yep. When it crashed, I think the audio got better. Oh man. Okay. Yeah, unfortunately though, it is like really freezing right now. I gotta close out of some more tabs, some more browser tabs here. So let me close out of this, and this. There we go. I'll leave this one up. So yeah, while we're waiting for the coding agents to run and hopefully chug along smoothly here, I'll send a link to the discount here because the stream is almost done. We're almost at time here, so the discount is almost gone for the locking in the 20% discount for the Dynamous community with our live stream special here. So we've got the agentic coding course. If you want to go deeper into everything that I've covered here, all the concepts that I taught throughout the Dynamous Kiro AI Coding Hackathon as well, this is the place to be. I'm covering all the latest with agentic coding. I'm going to be sharing a lot more soon with the second brain stuff that I'm doing with Claude Code and Obsidian, building my own version of OpenClaw. So claim the discount. 48 minutes left to claim it, and then it'll be locked down again back to the normal pricing for the community. And when you sign up, you lock in the pricing forever with either the annual or the monthly membership to Dynamis. So I just wanted to call that out one more time. I hope to see you guys in the community. And again, I just want to say thank you to everyone who participated in the hackathon as well because that was just a blast, like so much fun. And if you missed the start of the live stream where I cover the winners, then you can definitely go and watch the replay within like the first hour of the stream is where I covered the winners, the top 16 actually. Okay, so this is a problem here because our terminal froze. That is a bummer. I spun up too many agents. So I'm gonna have to restart here. So I'm going to spin up a new instance of WSL. I might have to restart WSL entirely. I totally crashed it. Luckily, I wasn't too far in the process yet, but wow, I totally crashed it. Let me see here. Let me spin down the application. Holy cow. WSL dash dash shutdown. Sometimes you got to do this. Unfortunately, WSL is a pain sometimes. Okay. So go back to my terminals. Let me start a new WSL. I have to do this because Agent Teams does not work in just Windows if I want to have the different Tmux terminals. So I'm going to restart everything here. Dangerously skip permissions. All right. Very good. And then I'll do build with team. And then I will pass in the plan again. So copy the relative path. There we go. And then hopefully we won't crash this time because we aren't spinning up 12 sessions, 12 agents, or it was actually 13 in total. All right, there we go. So yeah, now we will get back to things once it has started all of the agents. So in the meantime here, anyone have any questions? We can have a little bit of time for Q&A because I won't get to have the other team of agents running because I don't want to crash my entire WSL again. But hopefully we'll still get to the point where we have the full application built here. So I'll just let it rip through this until we have the team running up and we'll start to see everything come together. I'm really curious, especially once we get to the end-to-end validation with the Vercel agent browser CLI as well. Looking forward to that. Anyone have any questions, anything they want to chat about? Um, let's see. Is it possible to resume an agent team session? Not to my knowledge, because you can do slash resume, but I don't think it'd like spin up all the agents again because they're actually all technically different sessions of Claude that are all just coordinating through the shared task list. So maybe there's a way, but I haven't done that myself. I could just install Linux. I could, but I wouldn't be comfortable like running a whole live stream and everything on Linux. So I usually just stick to Windows for that, and then I just run WSL for when I need to do things in a Linux terminal. Maybe I should though. Maybe. All right. Curious, what are your computer specs? So I'm actually using a laptop right now. I don't have my usual setup. It might be part of the problem. So this laptop has I think a 3070 NVIDIA like laptop GPU, and then I have 16 gigabytes of RAM. I don't know the exact CPU on this. So it's a decent laptop, but especially the 16 gigabytes of RAM might have been the problem here. That might have made it crash. So generally it's good to at least have 32 gigabytes of RAM on computers these days, especially if you're trying to do a lot of agentic engineering and running things in parallel. So yeah, what computer specs do you recommend to get starting with this type of coding? The main thing is having a semi-decent CPU, but like 32 gigabytes of RAM. Usually the RAM is the limiting factor. You don't really need a good GPU unless you're running local AI, but for parallel agentic coding, it's not realistic to run your own models. And so you're going to have to go out to something like, I'm using Claude Code here, so I'm using Anthropic models, or you could use something like OpenRouter if you want to like code with like GLM5 or something. But yeah, typically just 32 gigabytes of RAM, have a decent CPU, and you'll be good to go. Curious how much it would cost to run Claude this way. Using all the frameworks you are using to build a medium to complex application, would I explode my $200 subscription easily in 1 hour? No, you won't. The tokens it uses quite a bit of tokens. Um, to run agent teams, but it's not that much. Like if you have the max subscription with Claude, you won't run out of tokens. So, okay, I'm gonna check something here. Because did I run the right command? Oh no, okay, we're good. Yeah, so I've ran the right command. It's just doing all of its research before it spins up the agent team here. So, all right, very good. How can we track agent intercommunication to verify it's happening? So, Sean, this is one of the reasons why I'm saying that Claude Agent Teams is very powerful in the future of coding, but not the most practical right now, because there isn't really a good way. Oh, no way. Sorry, Sean. I'll get to your question in a sec. I guess the agents were actually running in parallel. We just kind of missed it. So it crashed, but all of the agents, they were actually working behind the scenes. It was just like the terminal that was bugged. So we did actually we had all of the agents work in parallel. Now it's just we need our lead agent to come back and fix things. So interesting. Interesting. So it's going to fix the linting errors and then run the final validation. So in a roundabout a way, we had the agent team work. So I know that maybe it wasn't the best demonstration because my WSL crashed, but the agents did actually build everything. So that's pretty cool. We just didn't get to see all the logs, which with the small terminals and TMUX, it usually wouldn't be the case anyway, that we'd see much happening. But this is cool. So it spun up another agent in the team here to handle the back end fixes. So, okay, that's pretty neat. All right, and then back to your question here, Sean. I'll show this again. How can we track agent intercommunication? So we can't really. The one thing that I will say is we can go to the lead agent here, like I can do control B back to the lead agent, and I can say like how have the agents been communicating with each other. And I'm not going to do that. I'm going to let it just keep going here. It's kind of cool. It spun up a whole nother team for the fixes here. So we got most of the way with the previous agent team, then it crashed. Now we're back just validating things and doing the final end-to-end testing. So yeah, there's not really a way to, besides just asking, like, how have you been communicating with the agents? You'll get a decent answer if you do that. So it does have that meta reasoning of knowing how the agents have been talking to each other, but there's no like dashboard that says like this agent claimed this task and sent these messages to these agents. I think you could probably build that with hooks or something. I wouldn't be surprised if Anthropic improves agent teams in the near future by adding in more observability, but right now it is blatantly missing in my mind from the tool. Regarding the commands and skills directory, I like the separation of concerns. Why the need to merge these one skill directory? So that's a good question, Eric. I think the main reason they did the merge is because people were already pretty confused. Like if I want to use a skill as a command, why can't I just do like slash skill and just run the skill myself? And that's kind of what they've done. So there just wasn't really that much of a real distinction that made it so it made sense. The separation of concerns, because like commands you invoke and skills the agent invokes, like that makes sense, but I still think from an organization standpoint, it is cleaner to have everything in just one directory. So I get why they did it. Um, Dual OBS or dual machine OBS, like, or operating system like the pro streamers. I could do that. I would consider. Um, yeah, mine is also 16 gigabytes. I'm always running out. Claude is heavy if you're running 10 instances. Yes. Yep. Claude, a lot of Claude code instances running together will definitely eat your RAM. Having 128 gigabytes of unified RAM is pretty fantastic. I am jealous. It is because Claude code leaks memory. It's insanely bloated, over-engineered, not designed for a lot of features that it has. Yeah, I think that's fair. Like Claude Code is definitely the most powerful coding agent, but it is true that there are a lot of things that could be a lot more efficient. I do agree. Yep. All right. Why does agent teams cost more than calling sub-agents? Fair question. So the main reason is just because of all that overhead with communication. Managing the shared task list, sending messages to each other. A lot of it isn't optimized at this point, but it's not like it's that crazy. In fact, let's look at that right now. So while this is running, let's go to my usage file settings. So I like using Claude Desktop just to check my Claude usage for my subscription. And take a look at this. It's not that bad. Only used 16% of my current session and it resets in 37 minutes. And we've done a full implementation. I know that it crashed, and so we had to spin everything back up, but like we still did use agent teams for that entire implementation, and it was only 16%. And I've only used 11% for my weekly limit, and that's a lot of stuff I was doing yesterday and the day before as well. Or I guess it resets every Friday, so just the work I was doing yesterday too. It's not that bad. I don't, I am kind of surprised that people have been complaining so much about it consuming a lot of tokens, because with the 100 or $200 a month max plans for Claude, you're going to be able to spin up teams all the time and not run into limits. It's fine. It's really like they probably can do a lot of optimizations, but it's still not that bad right now. What if I'm using a cursor user? Is the community worth it? John, I appreciate you asking because yes, it is. The principles that I teach in the agentic coding course are universal. I teach in fact, I even talk about like how you can use commands and rules and things in other coding agents like Cursor, even though I do primarily use Claude Code as my coding agent. Like for the course, obviously I have to pick one, and I pick Claude Code because it is my favorite, but I talk about other coding agents all of the time. In fact, there's even a module in the agentic coding course where I show you how to integrate coding agents directly in your GitHub repositories. And I use Codex, Cursor, and Claude Code. Like I actually show building all three into your like CI/CD pipeline, things like that. It's very cool. So yeah, if you're interested in learning universal principles that will make you better with using coding assistance, no matter the coding agent you use, then definitely check out Dynamous because we got the live stream special that is ending in 35 minutes now. You gotta lock it in. It's ending very soon here. So I will put a link to this to join. Purva said the course is awesome, second to none. I appreciate the timely, kind words. Thank you very much. Yeah, yeah, you're welcome, Eric. Yeah. All right. So let's see how we are now. Okay. Cool. So the three agents worked in parallel. We have our backend fixes, billing page, and test fixes. So it says that everything is perfect. Now, one thing that Opus 4.6 missed, and unfortunately, Opus 4.6 specifically seems to miss this a lot for me, is it will always ignore the end-to-end testing that I want it to do with the agent browser CLI. And so I'm going to go into Akka Voice here and demand that it does the full testing because I want it to, like I said earlier, go through all of the user journeys and make sure that everything is working perfectly before it controls pass back to me. So I'm going to say, all right, I need you to go through the end-to-end testing with the agent browser CLI. You totally missed that. We need to go through all of the user journeys, and I do not want you to stop. You cannot stop until you've tested every user journey and you are confident the application is working perfectly. So go ahead and start up the application. Make sure that you are going through each of the user journeys that we have outlined in the structure plan. You can read the structure plan again if you need to, which it shouldn't need to because we haven't even had to reset the context window. So I probably didn't even have to say that. But anyway, I'm just being very clear here that you cannot skip this step. I don't know why Claude, with Opus 4.6 specifically, this has started to happen for me. It's not the biggest deal because I can just have it start things up again and pick up all that testing that it failed to do, but it's just annoying that I have to do that. All right, so let's see. I don't like that it's making the curl directly to like, okay, you need to use the Vercel agent browser CLI. It's a little annoying. Honestly, I have been more impressed with Opus 4.5 than I have with Opus 4.6. I've got the skill here. You have the ability to use the agent browser. It with Opus 4.5, it used to automatically go to the end-to-end scenarios without me having to ask it. Okay, there we go. So now it's using the skill. So we're good now. We're on track now. But I don't like that I have to ask it that. It's like it's pretty consistent now. Now it probably does mean there's an opportunity for me to improve my plan or improve my command so that it's more clear it has to get right into doing that. But it is kind of like annoying whenever there's a new model that comes out. Sometimes you do have to adjust your prompts and your commands to work with that newer model. It might be a more powerful model, but it understands your prompts differently. And I've had that happen a lot, especially when switching between different providers. But even if there is like an upgraded version of an LLM from another one, it just understands the input differently. It's all it comes down to. But it's very cool to see it go and use the agent browser. I could have had it do it in headed mode as well. Actually, let's do that. Do headed mode so we can watch the validation because it's just doing everything behind the scenes with a headless browser right now. but it'd be really cool for us to like watch it go through the user journeys, like buying tokens and interacting with the agent. So let me close the current browser and reopen a header mode so you can watch. I think that'll be good for the stream so we can actually watch things. So it's finding issues as it's going, which is okay. I totally expect that. This isn't necessarily the fault of using agent teams, but this is why I do end-to-end testing. No matter how clear my plan is, there's always going to be those little issues with the code that it has to address, and it'll find those things when it tries to actually use the website as a user would. So this is good. This is what we're looking for here. Um, and yes, this is exactly what I have seen before as well. It'll say like all tests complete at the bottom, but then there's a wall of text with this hidden thing like, oh, test X didn't work. But that's just because of some other issue that already existed. Man, that grinds my gears. That exact thing happens all of the time. And there are definitely ways to like improve that by being specific in your global rules or your commands to like not say that, right? Like you can include in your instructions, do not ignore a failing test just because you think it's due to something else that's happened before, right? And like sometimes that will help, but it still is like the nature of LLMs where they'll do that and it's super annoying. So anyway, let me can I make this bigger here? Okay, I can't. So the window size is kind of limited here, so maybe it's hard for you guys to like really read the fine print of what's going on. But yeah, let's let it go through. So it's registering a new account with Supabase. Obviously, there's an issue with the browser here, so it'll have to determine that. There's always those things that it has to figure out is wrong at first, and then it'll fix those like derpy glitches at first, and then the end-to-end testing becomes a lot smoother. So it'll get there. It'll get there. But this is not surprising to me. But that's why we have it do this autonomously, because I don't care that it has these kind of silly problems at first, because then by the time it comes back to me, everything's great. Interesting. There we go. I guess it maybe this is a issue with the Vercel agent browser CLI because apparently things are working, but like what I'm looking at is not correct. I don't know. We'll let it just go through its testing here. Oh, exactly, Eric. Test X failed, but it's not due to my change. Oh yeah, all of the time. Man, it's so frustrating. Yep. All right. Cool, cool. And I'm going to add something here. Make sure you take screenshots along the way and validate the screenshots for UI and UX. So typically the agent doesn't do that unless you ask it to, but the Vercel agent browser CLI has a fantastic screenshot implementation. Like it's very context efficient. And then Claude Code can look at the actual PNGs that are generated to make sure that things are looking good. Um, because then it can validate the user interface a lot better than just looking at the code. Real talk, Kiro versus Claude Code. How well does the Ghost stack up? I'm skeptical. I do think that Claude Code is better overall. Kiro is faster. I like using Kiro for proof of concepts, but generally when I'm just trying to get the best code quality output in general, I do use Claude Code over everything else. And to me, it's not really a competition. I mean, there are other tools like Kiro, Codex that are close, but yeah, I do like using Claude Code. It is pretty slow tool compared to most other coding agents, though. I will say that, but yeah, waiting is oftentimes worth it for me. All right. It's always due to its change. My tests are 100% pass on every commit. Yeah, exactly. Like even if you get it so that like your commits everything's perfect, and then you go to the next iteration, the coding agent will still say that the failing tests are not due to its changes, even though like before you had it work, things were perfect. And so one thing you can do there is just tell it in the plan. All tests were passing before this work. If there is anything that's failing, it is your fault. You need to address it. Like that alone can make a big difference. I've done that kind of thing before. So there's always things you can do, but sometimes the agents will still ignore it. Like 100%. That's still a possibility. But all right, let's see how we're looking. So all right, taking a screenshot for the login. Looks good. Let it keep going. One thing that I forgot to do, unfortunately, is get a drink of water. So what I'm going to do right now while we wait for this to go is uh I'm going to just like turn off my camera and mute, and we can like you guys can like watch the browser go here. And then I'll come back once I get a drink of water because I definitely need that right now. So I will be back in just a second here. So I'll turn off my camera and mute, and then I'll be back in just a minute here. All right, I'm back, guys. So, hmm, getting server error for the API. I'm just gonna let it keep going though. I don't even care. That's all good to me. Well, let me see if I can look at the logs here. I have it running, or no, it's running behind the scenes, so I can't. I'll let it keep fixing its thing. All right. Um, Not a fan of Kiro. Probably get it work as well as Claude with a lot of work put into steering. It's just not worth it because then I'd be missing Claude's features. Yeah, I have heard mixed opinions about Kiro throughout the hackathon. But the thing is, the Kiro team, like as I've been working with them on the hackathon, I'm giving them feedback from you guys, and they're working on a lot of these things. Like I straight up told them, like, hey guys, Kiro's a fantastic tool. A lot of people are preferring the output of Claude code. And like here's why. XYZ is better at following through on a plan, which apparently Opus 4.6 is not good at. Um, yeah. So anyway, what is it doing here? Okay, sorry. Anyway, I was saying, I lost my train of thought because I was distracted because I thought I was trying. Why is it saying authenticate request with clerk? I'm not using clerk here. But anyway, I was just saying that Kiro, they are taking feedback and making the application better and better over time. And so, I mean, I think that like it is going to keep being a competitor to Claude Code. But like, yeah, definitely, like I said, I do think that like Claude Code does give us the best output right now. Sean likes the Kiro IDE and powers. Yeah, I think their IDE, their CLI is a lot newer. It's not super feature rich with like the new like powers and stuff like the IDE. So definitely the IDE is pretty cool, but they're working on those things. They're building it all into the CLI as well. It just takes time. Yeah. I used Kiro and the Amazon QCLI, which is what became Kiro for months, because it's the only thing they let us use at work. During the hackathon, remind me of all the dumb stuff it does. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, all coding agents do dumb stuff. All right. And then what are you guys talking about with something that was open source and then isn't? I'll show something else in the meantime here. Well, Claude Code has upgraded and expanded so fast in the last year. It's kind of expected they didn't design it for what it's doing now. Let's give some credit to how good it is at everything considered. Well, yeah, 100%. Don't get me wrong. I'm impressed with Claude Code, and it is my daily driver. Yeah, oh yeah. Joining Dynamous, my agents are the biggest Archon fanboys. They'd be mad if I didn't. Well, welcome to Dynamous. I appreciate you joining. That's funny. Yeah. AI, it's production ready. Me, prove it. My favorite prompt. Oh, it'll prove it all right, but it's over engineered. Yeah. All right. Cole, have you tried the Pi coding agent? It's minimal but can extend itself. Fun to use. Okay, I have not. No, that sounds cool. The Pi coding agent. I've not even heard of it before. Let's see. Kiro. Oh, Kiro was open source at one point. Kiro was Amazon QCLI, which was open source. They shut down the Amazon QCLI, rebranded it to Kiro. Now it's closed. Yeah. It is unfortunate, but like I understand that there really aren't, there's not a big company that is releasing an open source coding agent. Like the big players, like you have like open code and stuff, but I'm saying like the big players. I get it, but yeah, that is unfortunate. I mean, you guys know I'm a fan of open source. I wish that everything was open source. And I do open source pretty much everything that I'm doing myself. So yeah, I understand. I understand. All right. So anyway, finally, our agent figured out these issues in the back end, but it's cool, right? Like this is a great demo, even though it's annoying that this had to go for like a solid 10 minutes to find these issues. It's able to address everything behind the scenes because it's able to test just like I would if I were to spin up the app myself. But now I don't have to be the one to say like, "Hey, Claude, the agent didn't respond to me here. You need to look into this." Like it just figures it all out itself. It'll retest automatically. Everything is taken care of automatically. That is the beauty of end-to-end testing. Now, theoretically, I could use agent teams here to do more end-to-end testing in parallel. And so maybe I'm not like using agent teams as much as I could, but typically I like to use the teams for the implementation itself, writing all the code, and then I leave it up to the lead agent to do the validation at the end. And so it just so happens that the end-to-end validation generally takes a while, but it's still a lot of work being done in parallel up front. You guys saw that it only took like 5-10 minutes to go through the entire implementation. And yes, there are some corrections that have to be done here, but it was able to chug through that build very, very quickly. It would have taken Claude by itself like 30 minutes. So that was really cool to see. Now we just have to get through the little glitches that come up, which would happen even if we weren't using agent teams. So this is good stuff. In Dynamis, very cool. Or I am Dynamis. I think you meant you're in Dynamis. Well, thank you for being a part of the community. Just joined the community. Looking forward to learning from all you guys. Welcome to Dynamis. We appreciate you being a part of it. Bit of a spaz and a clown. I apologize in advance. No, you're all good. You're all good. Yeah, well, okay, since you guys are talking about joining, I'll bring this up one more time here because it's 16 minutes left. This is your chance to lock in the Dynamis live stream special, 20% off the normal public pricing. You can lock this in for life, covering all the new stuff with my second brain that I'm building, like my own version of OpenClaw. We got the new agentic coding course to take you 10x for what you're able to build with coding agents in the same amount of time. I'll put this link in the chat because this is the last time I will do this. Maybe before we end the stream once everything is working here, but yeah, please take advantage of this. I'd love to see you in the community, and I'm there every single day, answering your questions, sharing new things. We got a ton of people in the community sharing amazing stuff that they're building and just like resources they're finding online every single day. And so, if there's ever a new agentic coding tool or framework or LLM that's worth trying, you'll hear it first here if you're following along and being a part of the community. And so, I would love to have you guys join. So, yeah, all right. So, we're almost there. It's running some just like testing and stuff. I wonder, does that mean it's done? Or I guess it's running that before it continues with the end-to-end testing. Okay, so we'll let it keep doing that. Noticed Kiro used JSON for agents versus Markdown and Claude. Thoughts? Yeah, so the reason that Kiro uses agents or uses JSON for their agents is because there's actually a lot more configuration. Because you can define like the resources, the different files that are loaded into context. You can define the hooks per agent. I think that Kiro is kind of ahead of Claude in terms of their agent implementation, which is very cool to see. So because there's just like more attributes and different things to set, I think JSON is just like an easier way to organize it. You could definitely do it like Claude, where it's markdown with the YAML front matter, so you can define all the parameters up top. I don't know. I think that both work. So I wouldn't be able to give you like a super definitive answer as to why they chose JSON and Claude chose Markdown, but both are really good formats. I've been an Archon user for a long time, have implemented a lazy load mechanism and repurposed it as my primary MCP server. That is super cool. I love to see that. Nice. Very cool. Hey Cole, is it possible to implement progressive disclosure for the memory of an agent? Because we hardly provide last 5 to 10 messages from the memory in the system prompt. So you can implement progressive disclosure for any part of context for an agent. It can be parts of the rules, it can be the skills. That's the main use of progressive disclosure. It can be anything related to the memory, progressive disclosure loading of the previous turns from a prior conversation. You could do it all. Because really what it comes down to with progressive disclosure is you have some way of telling the agent, here is some information you might want to explore, and then maybe like when you'd want to explore that information. And so as long as that's loaded in up front and there's some tool to like grab that extra information, that's all you need. And then it can call that tool, pull in that context, and then it's there. So that could be long-term memory rules, other on-demand context, anything. Yeah, you're welcome. What's the top 5 Dynamous project activity this month? So there are a lot of things going on at Dynamous right now. There's one guy that's building his own version of the Anthropic agent harness for long running agents, and he's open sourced that for the community to work on together, which is very, very cool. I've been working on second brain stuff and sharing that. We did a mini hackathon where people built a lot of their own features on top of actually this application that we're looking at right here. So I took like the base agentic chat application and I gave it to it as like a mini hackathon challenge to like build any feature on top of it. There were some really cool things that were built. Um, and then the other thing I'll say is behind the scenes, I'm working on revamping Archon. I'm doing a ton of work creating this like, I mean, it's still the original vision of Archon is the command center for AI coding, and that's still what I'm working on. But it's going to be a lot different now. More kind of like the N8N for AI coding. That's all I'll say right now. I don't want to spoil too much. There's a lot of exciting stuff I got coming for Archon soon that I'm working on sharing. I'm starting to spoil some stuff in the Dynamous community for that as well. So yeah. All right. Yes, you are very, very welcome. I'm a senior in college. Feel good to be among people passionate about agentic workflows. Yes, it does. I'm right there with you, my friend. Yeah, and congrats on being your last year in college. It's cool. You know what I'm confused by is why is it frozen on snapshot? Here, hold on. I'm gonna interrupt it. You froze. Continue. Hold on. My cloud is just freezing on me now. You froze. What is happening? I don't really know what's going on, but it was like completely stuck on just like a super basic snapshot. Okay, there we go. Now we're continuing. Hold on. I'm trying for a half hour to ask you about what do you want to ask about? I don't think I missed a question in the chat. Yeah, you're welcome, Mohammed. Kiro is an AWS product. JSON clicks right into the AWS ecosystem and is easy to sell when folks are already configuring EC2s and Lambdas and stuff. Yes, I actually didn't think about that. That's a good thought. Yeah. All right. Wow, it is stuck on a really silly thing right now. Come on, man. Conversation insert is failing. Okay. Maybe it needs to do something with the database schema. I don't really know. I gotta be honest, when I tested this yesterday, it didn't get hung up on the validation for this long. So of course, when you do something live, that's when things fail more. But hey, it's all good. The agent is gonna figure it out. All right. Keep going. You got this, buddy. All right. I'll let it keep going. Any other questions that anyone has? Working on something that lets you edit the context. Say, forget that debugging session we already completed. That entire part of the conversation gets replaced by summary and can be retrieved also. I love that. That is super cool. Nice. That sounds not easy to build as well. So that's awesome. Very cool. All right. Well, it's continuing to work its butt off here. You know, it might be the case that I won't fully finish the implementation by the time we let's see, about by the time we have our live stream closed up here. Which it finally worked. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. Say hello in one word. Let me load this up here. Oh, it didn't wait, let me just go to localhost 3000 on my own browser here. I want to try it out. Localhost 3000. Hello. Okay, so I have 20 tokens. There we go, and it went down to 19. That's super cool. Okay, so the token deduction is working here, and I'll say um I like car washes. Something really random. And there we go. All right, we're down to 18 tokens. So it is working. And then if I go to slash dashboard slash billing, I think is the URL there. That was for the billing there. Okay, so it's compiling. Okay, there we go. So tokens remaining, it's loading that. 18, we can buy tokens. And we got our transaction history as well. This is really cool. So if I click on buy here, does this work? I'm guessing this isn't going to work yet. Okay, so fail to start checkout, please try again, right? Because that's the part where it hasn't gotten to that yet in the end-to-end testing. And so our conversation is working, the token deduction is working. Now it needs to get to the point where it's testing everything with Chargebee, making sure that we can go and purchase tokens that it updates our amount. So we have half the battle done now, and it's validated that end to end. So we're getting there. We just have to wait for it to compact the conversation here and then continue with the Chargebee build or the validation there. Hope we're recording it and can watch later. Oh yeah, so I'm gonna actually tomorrow or Monday. I'm gonna upload this live stream and I'll cut out all of like the waiting and stuff. So it'll be like a nice succinct version of everything that I'm doing here for this build. Um, yeah, you're very welcome, Perva. Yeah, appreciate it. Waiting to hear from Zippa. I am too, because I don't think I missed the question. I'm not sure what's up with that. But yeah, so here's my plan for you guys. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to end the stream pretty soon here, and then I'm going to post a recap video, probably on Monday. And what I'll do there is I will make a really condensed version of what we've been building together here. So I'll like go through the planning process, show the agent teams, and then I'll like show the end-to-end testing. Like I'll just like because that way you still have like the education of like the entire process, but it'll be like much more concise than the live stream. And all like the little blips that we've had, and just like Q&A and waiting for the agent to finish and everything. Because that'll be kind of like my nice recap video for you guys. And then for anyone that missed the stream as well, or you can watch the replay if you've only been a part of a bit of this session. Because the most important thing that I did up front is the planning for this implementation. So yeah, all right, it's continue to go through the validation here. So I'll like let it continue, and then after the live stream, I'll like continue the recording and just like add that part in where like the final application is done. That's my plan there. That's great. Make sure to add Q&A. I will add some Q&A when there are the good questions for sure. Running my agents in Letta, giving them stateful memory. Anyone have solutions for persistent stateful context management? Interested in exploring other options? I would recommend taking a look at Claude Mem. It's an open source GitHub repo for adding long-term memory to Claude code. It's very, very cool. Or Mem Zero if you're just like building agents, not doing AI coding. So yeah, take a look at those. Knowledge graphs for persistent memory. Yeah, those. I mean, I've never really built that into AI coding, if that's what you mean, but I've used knowledge graphs a lot for building my own AI agents, like RAG agents. What are my thoughts on OpenClaw? That's a good question. I'll go ahead and wrap up the live stream by talking about this. So it's funny that it's just chat with itself here. I don't know why. Okay. Anyway, let's go to YouTube here. Right. No, hold on. Wrong browser. I'll talk about OpenClaw for just a bit here. Boom. So OpenClaw. Put a video out just this week, actually, talking about OpenClaw. I built my own version of it that's much safer. OpenClaw is an incredible tool. Super well architected, really revolutionary, huge security risks. There are some vulnerabilities in the code. They are working on them, but more importantly, you're running a big black box that you're giving control to for your entire digital life. There's a lot of security concerns that come with that. So I don't recommend running it, but I recommend learning from it to build your own. That's what I'm a proponent of. Using something like Claude Code and the Claude Agent SDK to build your own second brain, and you can literally point it to the OpenClaw repository and say, look there to see how they're implementing the memory system or the proactive nature of the agent or the adapters, and then like bring that into my own second brain, my own smaller code base that I have full control over. I actually understand and is very easily extendable and customizable to exactly what I want, and you can build the same kind of skill system and everything. So that's my idea for OpenClaw, my thoughts on it in general. But yeah, anyway, we are almost at the top of the hour here. So I'm going to go ahead and call this stream here. Again, I will do a recap video where I have a much more condensed version of my entire process with the planning and the agent teams and the validation. I'll even go through to the very end where we have the full application working as well. And so, yeah, we've gotten to the point now where it has tested everything with the chat. So we know that the token consuming is working, the chat is working. Now it just needs to go and test everything with Chargebee. And so it'll go through, try to buy tokens. We know there are some issues that'll run into here. So it's going to have to correct some things. And then it'll come back to me once it's working, and we'll test it again manually. So the last thing that I want to say here is we got 2 minutes left for the special. This is your last chance to join the community with the live stream special, 20% off the public pricing. I'm going to go ahead and put this link in the chat again. You don't want to miss this. The community is thriving more than ever. We got 1,350 members, everyone sharing so many ideas with each other every single day. We've got the agentic coding course, the AI agent mastery course, weekly live sessions and workshops. I do workshops every single Friday. Going to be covering stuff with my second brain soon as well. We got templates for AI coding and an entire agentic application that is open source in the community you can just use for yourself to build any application you want on top of it. And so this is going away very, very soon. So take advantage of this. I hope to see you guys in the community. And then for everyone who's already a part of the community, thank you for being a part of it. And also for participating in the hackathon if you did. So and that's the whole point of this live stream in the first place. So to end things off, I spelt it wrong. Hackathon. There we go. So to end things off, I just want to say again, thank you for everyone who participated in the hackathon. You all built incredible things, such amazing things. So it was a blast to host it and go through your submissions and to announce the winners. This was a super exciting live stream. I enjoyed it a lot. Hope you guys did as well. Thank you for being a part of this, being a part of Dynamous, being a part of the community on YouTube as well. I hope that you guys have a fantastic rest of your weekend. And with that, I will see you all later. So take care, everyone. Thank you for being a part of this stream.